Please take your seats. The meeting is about to begin. Remember to speak into the microphone, as this meeting is being recorded for public record. Please stand by. We are going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome to the May 14th, 2026 DRB meeting. We can start with attendance.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to do a roll call. Chair Meshberg.
Here.
Vice Chair Butagavoli.
Here.
Mr. Asion.
Here.
Mr. Lester.
Here.
Ms. Lewin.
Here.
Ms. Mindich.
Here.
Mr. Paez.
Present.
And I can confirm we have a quorum with seven members present.
Okay. City Attorney updates.
Thank you. Good morning. Today's meeting of the Design Review Board is being conducted in a hybrid format with a quorum of the board physically present in the Commission chambers at Miami Beach City Hall, and applicants, staff, and members of the public appearing either in person or virtually via Zoom. Anyone wishing to participate in today's meeting via Zoom may dial the toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499, and enter the webinar ID, which is 822-7394-1924, followed by the pound sign. Or log into the Zoom app and enter the webinar ID, which again is 822-7394-1924. Individuals wishing to speak on an item must click the raise hand icon if they are using the Zoom app, or dial *9 if participating by phone. Before I swear in those who are testifying, I'm going to read into the record the city's notice regarding lobbyist registration. If you are appearing on behalf of a business, a corporation, or another person, including as an architect, attorney, or representative of an applicant or an objector, you need to register as a lobbyist with the city clerk's office before speaking to the board. You do not have to register as a lobbyist if you are speaking only on behalf of yourself, you are testifying as an expert witness, providing only scientific, technical, or other specialized information, or you are appearing as a representative of a neighborhood association without any compensation or reimbursement for your appearance to express support for or opposition to any item. Expert witnesses and representatives of neighborhood associations shall, prior to appearing, disclose in writing to the city clerk their name, address, and the principal on whose behalf they are communicating. These rules apply whether you are appearing in favor of or against an item, or encouraging or arguing against its passage, defeat, modification, or continuance. I will now swear in everyone who is physically present in the Commission chambers and intends to testify. Virtual speakers will need to be sworn in one by one before addressing the board. So if you'll be giving testimony, please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you will be giving in this proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Next would be approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to second it with a correction to maybe what is a scrivener's error. On the back of the page of the minutes, item 9, new applications, where it indicates approved changes to the structure was 5-0, it should reflect 6-1, as Paez being the only dissenter.
And that's correct. That is a Scrivener's error. We have that in our notes, so we will make that correction.
So I second.
Okay. So, minutes.
All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Butagavoli, a second by Mr. Paez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
We do not have any other business today on the consent agenda.
No items on the consent agenda today.
And we have some continuances and withdrawals today.
Yes. Item DRB 25-1099. This item will likely need some additional variances that will require renoticing. So the application, in the event that it does not need those variances, we would request that the item be continued to the June 9th meeting, 11th, sorry, June 11th meeting. But it's likely that the item will have to be renoticed and actually come back before the July 9th meeting.
I make a motion to open and continue the DRB item 24-1061 to either June 11th or July meeting.
So, yeah, it would be continued to the June 11th. If it does need to come to the July, it'll just be renoticed.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Butagavoli, second by Mr. Paez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. The next item, DRB 24-1061, that's 1414 Alton Road. The applicant is here, so they can describe, but I believe it's being deferred, and we'll renotice it at a later date.
Good morning, everyone. Graham Penn, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. This is the Bank of America application that we've continued a couple times, but the good news is we were able to resubmit, hopefully for the final submittal on Sunday. So that would put us on the July agenda if everything goes well. So it will be renoticed because it's been too long. Again, so I think so I would ask for us to be moved to the July agenda. I'm looking at Mr. Madan's face like he's puzzled that we resubmitted. I want to make sure we have, but
Double checking that because I
that the
don't recall.
earliest that it would be in July.
We can talk offline about it, but I don't see it.
Okay, well, that's good and bad news for me. But but again, we are done with the revisions, so, I mean, obviously, we can't go forward today, so we would ask for it to be continued until July.
I'll make a motion to continue to July.
Second.
Okay, so the motion was by Ms. Lewin? And I didn't hear who Ms. Butagavoli seconded?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, our first new application today, 1250 West Ave.
DRB 25, 1159, 1250 West Avenue. This application has been filed requesting design review approval for the construction of a new 28-story multifamily building with accessory uses, including one or more waivers to replace an existing multifamily building.
Okay, so just for background purposes, last year in June of 2025, the City Commission approved an ordinance 2025-4749, which created the Alton Beach Bayfront Overlay District, which applies to this subject parcel. And the City Commission also approved Resolution 2025-33803, which was a development agreement which provided some additional development incentives for this site, and the developer is also agreeing to complete several portions of the Baywalk and a few other public benefits for that neighborhood. The overlay, what it provides for is some additional FAR with a bonus structure to grant that FAR, which provides a maximum FAR of up to 5.75. Additional height, it provides for a height limit of 330 feet. Excuse me. And some other benefits in terms of how the parking can be organized, and some additional other regulations. So this site is also in the RM3 district, which is the high-intensity multifamily district. And so the applicant has submitted a proposal for, as indicated in the title, a 28-story building. The building is 329 feet 8 inches tall to the top of the slab. And then there are some allowable height exceptions that are also included in that. The building is proposing for the parking to be underground. There is a small retail component and other amenities on the ground floor and in some of the underground levels as well. So it's an interesting in that regard, and it's going to have to provide some interesting flood proofing mechanisms for that. The proposal will provide for 106 residential units across those 27 floors and 4 units per floor through level 2 through 27, 2 units per floor on levels on level 28. The minimum unit size is 1,667 square feet, and the average unit size is 3,479 square feet. The proposed building is designed in a contemporary style. It's a slender tower with a heavily landscaped ground area. The project is proposing a balcony. The balconies are integrated into the design of the building. It provides a very clean, modern look. The one concern that staff has with the design is on the rooftop. The rooftop this is going to be an iconic building in the skyline. It's going to stand out, and so staff feels that the rooftop needs a little bit more. So we're not telling the applicant exactly what they should be proposing, but we think that that the design should include some additional architectural treatments to provide some greater visual interest. So that could be screen walls, exposed structural elements, decorative architectural structures, lighting features, a spire, or any other decorative element, just to give it a little bit of additional character and visibility in the skyline to provide some additional visual interest. So that's the one design recommendation that staff has. Additionally, the applicant is proposing to construct a bay walk. The applicant is proposing for the bay walk to be over the water, and it will also include an observation platform where the public can gather, stand, and enjoy the bayfront. The project was submitted to the Miami-Dade County Biscayne Bay Shoreline Development Review Committee, which is required for all development that's on the waterfront. And the committee was supportive of the proposal, and the committee did recommend that the DRB include some conditions in the board, which we've included in the draft order, related to providing a covenant, ensuring that the path connects with other segments of the Baywalk, and that there be some signage. The applicant, so we've included those conditions, and we've added some additional city conditions related to the Baywalk regarding the hours of operation, connectivity to adjacent structures, the ability to close the structure at night, and some other conditions that are in the draft order. Staff is supportive of the Baywalk in that location. However, we do have one concern. The Baywalk over the water does require a modification to the development agreement, as the original plans called for the Baywalk to be located on the upland portion on the western edge of the property. So that would require the City Commission to agree to modify the development agreement in order to allow that. So staff has incorporated a condition that should that not happen, or should there be any other permitting issues, since this is over the water, this would be subject to review from other outside agencies. Should there be any other permitting hiccups that would prevent that, staff has incorporated a condition that they be required to provide the Baywalk on the upland portion on the western edge of the property, subject to the review and approval of staff. So, that would be the one safeguard that we would include in the draft order that we have in the draft order, just in case something happens and they're not able to construct it in the way that's being proposed. And with that, staff recommends that the application be approved, subject to the conditions in the attached draft order.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board member, staff. Michael Larkin, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here representing the applicant, the Terra Group. With me today is ODP, our architect of record, with Hernando Marin representing ODP. We have Studio MK27 from Sao Paulo. They're our design consultant. We have Renata Forlineto and Fernando Longhi from that firm. We also have today my colleagues Nick Rodriguez and Carlos Markovich. The code requires at the beginning of the hearing that we disclose if there are any support agreements entered into with adjacent neighbors. Here we've entered into support agreements with Bayview Terrace, which is our south neighbor, and the Waverly Condominium, which is 2 properties to the north. The purpose of these agreements is to mitigate for construction impacts. Could be simple as washing their windows, washing their cars, because dust does migrate north, south, east, west. And so these support agreements are meant to address all types of impacts that could result from the construction of our building, which we understand, and we're willing to do what I also call good neighbor agreements to help them out during our sizable construction period. Rahel, can we pull up the presentation, please? Next slide. So Rogelio was correct that in June of last year, the City Commission took 2 actions. First, they adopted an overlay zoning district known as the Alton Beach Bayfront Overlay, which created a unique set of zoning regulations for this particular property. The other thing that they did was adopt a development agreement. The development agreement is the vehicle by which benefits flow to the public from private applicant through the city to the public. It's a common device used throughout many local governments, including our city of Miami Beach. So that development agreement and the Alton Beach Bayfront overlay was adopted in June of last year. The development agreement, for instance, required the acquisition of Bikini Hostel. I think you all know, just by living in Miami Beach, that it was a nuisance use for a long time. Toward the end of its life, it was turned to a shelter for the unhoused, which is not a proper place to put those people without the appropriate level of service. So we are thankful that that became an element of our development agreement. We acquired the property, we demolished it. Now we're just making it more of a vacant lot with landscaping and an aluminum picket fence. We are under an obligation, if the city so chooses, to turn that into a park and then convey it to the city. If the city chooses just to accept the property as is, the city can do whatever it would like to do with that particular parcel. With regard to the Baywalk, there are missing segments of the Baywalk. One is behind 800 West. One is immediately south of us at 1228. There's our segment, then there's 1450. We're under obligation to reach agreements with these condo associations. We're working very closely with them. And once we reach agreement with them, we can continue the permitting for these missing segments. I think you all know, as much as the beach walk is a wonderful asset to our community, the Baywalk could be as well. It's just these missing links do cause some concern in trying to navigate up and down to West Avenue back to the Baywalk. It's somewhat circuitous. So we hope to resolve that issue by constructing these Baywalk segments. Next slide. There are several different benefits that come with this particular project. A traffic reduction, with a reduction in the unit count from today's unit count of 238, you of course get a reduction in traffic. You get a reduction in demand for water, sewer, school population. Everything benefits from a reduced density. The next slide over on the top is the housing aspect, in that we are prohibiting short-term rentals. They have sometimes become the bane of neighborhoods' existence. I know they're struggling with that a little bit in town center. So here we volunteered to prohibit short-term rental. The Bayfront design, as you will see through the testimony of our architects, it really embraces the Bayfront. Resiliency, of course, this is new construction, and we're doing everything we can to make this building as sustainable, resilient as possible. The street presence, we pushed back the tower 150 feet from West Avenue, so it's not hovering over West Avenue. I think you will see the result is pretty spectacular. And of course, landscaping, we're making this as lush as possible in comparison to the current condition. It is a vast improvement. The internalized parking, Rogelio went over that. We're actually making it underground and pushing it back so you don't have this bulky parking pedestal that plagues some buildings up and down this corridor. And of course, overall, it's just a quality project that's going to lift West Avenue corridor in its entirety. And we're excited to be a part of the team that's bringing this to you today for your consideration. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Hernando and have him walk you through his portion of the presentation, followed by Hanata.
Good morning. Hernando Marin, ODP Architects, 2432 Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, Florida. Okay, we have here general information of the project, general data information. The most relevant, I would say, is, as you know, we are in the RM3 zoning district. Our base flood elevation is 8.56 NGVD per day. We are using the new preliminary FEMA flood maps, which in the design floor elevation setup for that is 13 NGVD, which is almost 5 feet of freeboard. The future adjusted grade is 7.86 NGVD, and the future crown of the road will be 6.16 NGVD. The density that we have available in the project is about 144 units, but the project is proposing 106 units. We have 250 parking spaces and 5 loading berths that are all in the basement. We don't have backup to the city. Everything happens internally. Next, please. Well, this is a location map. We can go through that. Next.
Excuse me, can I ask you to speak into the mic a little louder, please? Thank you.
That's better?
Yes.
Okay. This is a graphic about the setbacks, but we can talk about it better in the next slide, where we have floor plan of that. We have the At the front setback for the tower, 50 required, and the tower is setback 175 feet. So it's way more than what is allowed to us. For the pedestal, the setback is 20 feet, and we have about 21, so 1 foot more on setback on the back. The tower setback is 63 feet. And in the south tip of the tower, the setback is 91.9 inches. In this graphic, what you see in blue basically is the buildable area after the setbacks, and that is square, and the square in dotted lines represents the tower and the outline of the balconies. On the sides, on the sides setbacks, we have 16 feet plus 10 in at the pedestal level, at the tower level. Next. On this graphic, we want to show the height of the building. We have allowed, per the DA 330, we are using 329.8 to the main roof. Next. Now we're going to turn to Renata Fulateno, who's going to talk about how they place the building and some materials.
Hello, everybody. So this diagram here is showing, I think, the main feature of the project, which is to allow this direct access from West Avenue to the Bay Walk. So we are using the full 16 feet setback to allow this direct access, not just from the pedestrian point of view, but also from as a corridor view. Next one. So those are the images that we feel that the idea was to integrate completely this access, this public access, within the landscape of the surroundings of the building. So it's going to be treated as an extension of the landscape garden that will be part of this scenario around the building. Next one. And the pedestrian access is also very carefully treated from the street perspective, because we have two kinds of access for the commercial area, which is a wellness component and amenities component, and also the residential pedestrian access that will be happening through West Avenue. So the first importance of this connection between the street and the building is to allow a more like a human scale and a very lush landscape garden to be the welcoming component for those pedestrians and for the neighborhood connection. Next image. So the full podium was organized in a more horizontal proportion, setting the tower a little bit further back to create this more human scale connection with the neighborhood and with the street. Next one. And how we are going to deal with the parking is to allow just the cars to entrance in the drop-off area. So we have the connection for the commercial component and residential component through the drop-off, which is in a higher level, in this 13 feet level. But the docking area and the truck and the truck area will be within the garage in a different connection and access, and completely hidden from the street. So the trash trucks, everything that will be related to the back of house areas will be the loading dock. It was planned to be completely working inside of the building and not using the street or any other visible portion of the plot. Next one. This is the drop-off residential area. So the podium, it's treated on the side facades with this privacy screen material that creates a sort of transparency, allowing the garden that are going to be surrounding and wrapping the building to be seen from all the perspectives that we can find, to create an interesting back scenario for the building within the building. Next one. And this is how we are locating the tower in a very strategically placed to allow the front garden to happen and to be very comfortable and lush from the pedestrian side, the West Avenue side, but we also want to create a very lush and tropical garden at the rear of the building, where the amenities and where the connection with the bay will be placed. So this position, we are offsetting the building a little bit back from the bay to allow this lush garden and this more landscaped area to be very big and nice. Next one. And this is how the tower will be placed in the podium.
Okay, let's go to next. Now we have a graphic that represents how we are treating water. This is a resiliency graphic that we're going to have on the side of the buildings, the side setbacks, some bioswales, which are vegetative channels that capture and filter the stormwater runoff. At the front of the project, we're going to have an exfiltration trench, which is an underground perforated pipe, gravel, and that captures the stormwater. We also were proposing rain gardens with the shallow landscape with the pressures that collect the water from the local runoff. Another bioswales on the back of the building, and on the other side, another gravity drainage wells. Next. This is materiality, Renata.
I think this is the material palette that is placed here, so you can have a better look then. The idea is to push back a little bit the glazing panels, facade, and create more deeper balconies to allow this more interesting volumetry for the building. So you see, we will create shadows and more, let's say, verandas and more exterior areas that will be connected to the exterior that could be a livable space and not just a balcony. And the material selection is very much related to the natural palette. So we are using, as for the privacy screen, we're creating a privacy screen that will allow the side facades of the building to have more privacy towards the neighbors. And for this materiality, we are looking for a wood grain aluminum profile that will be also displayed here. You can feel and touch, so it's something that has a very good maintenance perspective, because it's not real wood, but relates to the wood grain, and to therefore this more natural materiality palette. We are allowing also the exposed concrete to be something that could create this more warm palette. So the gray of the concrete, the wood, and the podium bases will be wrapped in more natural stone. That is a material that connects to the landscape. So we are creating this modern look by having those very engineered elements with these natural patterns.
Okay, this is a nice view of the building, the skyline of Miami Beach looking west. You see how within it blends into the skyline of the city. This rendering is showing, is detailing the intention of the design and materiality, and the flying balconies, very large balconies, very open, very transparent. We are setting up the railing about 6 to 8 inches more than a typical railing that you see in all the buildings, to create to remark the line of the slab edge. And you can also see those privacy screens that we are creating, not the typical dividers that you see in all the buildings, the cladding and the fins that we have in front of the glazing of the AC enclosure are curving and getting out and merge almost at the border of the slab edge, which is a very interesting detail. Next. Now we're going to go real quick through the floor plans. The first one is the basement level 3, which is all parking. The second basement is also all parking. You see on the top right, there is a paddle court. This is the floor of the paddle court that has double height. And then the next level, all that shade area is the commercial area with the spa. You see the double height of the paddle court. The center, one second. At the center, there's a garden that has an opening in the drop-off, and the drop-off has a roof with another opening. So everything is open to the sky. The is a light well that it fits all the spaces on this level. Excuse me. The last thing on this one is you notice on the south side we have the loading area. The access to the loading area is independent of the ramp for the residents. We have this ramp on the south, the residents access on the north, so everything works independently. Next. Again, here in the ground level, at the top corner, you can see the ramp that is going up to the drop-off, and you can go around the drop-off, make a loop, or you can take the south of the ramp down to the parking of the residents in the south ramp. The ramp that we have in the corner is another level, and it's going down to that area of the loading. You see at the front, our front yard is planned to be a very flush garden with native species, or at least Floria-friendly materials. The following volume hosts a space, community space, a commercial space that integrates with the spa in the level below. And there are some equipment rooms, the vault, the emergency generator will be held in that area. And then you have to the left the space of the lobby and amenities of residents, and in the back is the pool deck. You will start notice here that the location of the bay walk.
Mr. Chair, would you like to extend their time?
Give you another 2 minutes, and
Okay.
yeah, there shouldn't be too many more slides, I don't think.
I hope not.
Okay, typical levels. These are basically typical levels. The first portion of the building has 4 units per floor. At the top, we have 2 floors. And the image to the left is the rooftop. Next. This is a detail of the backyard and the bay walk. And those 3D views are showing the connection on the north to the bay walk, because there's a differential in elevations there. On the south, we don't have next on the next one. Next one, this is more of the north, is a detail of the north. Next one, Nikki. And this is the south connection, which is level, because the public sidewalk that we will build is going to come into the right elevation point to connect to the bay walk. Next. We have a few landscape images here. This is the floor, the side plan where you see the placing of trees at the front to enforce the lush gardens, and obviously the garden at the back of the building mainly. These are.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members, for your attention. We're happy to answer any questions you all might have. I'd like to reserve some time for rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public?
We do have.
Before we hear from the public, are there any disclosures?
Yeah, I met with the representatives from the applicant at the site.
I met with them online yesterday.
I met with them in an offsite office.
Thank you.
If you're online and you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. So far, I see 3 hands, so we'll go to the first name is Christina Vega, Cyber Money Laundering Corp.
Christina, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Christina, if you are there, please unmute yourself.
Yes,
Christina, do you so swear?
yes.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Cristina Vega, and I'm here today in my professional capacity as the founder of Cyber Money Laundering and Real Estate Investigations Corp. We urge this board to deny this application completely due to a fatal jurisdictional defect. Our forensic audit confirms that the existing developer listed on the development agreement pages 47 and 53, West Avenue Hospitality Owner LLC and West Hospitality Owner LLC, these 2 entities are not existent in the Delaware Corporate Registry. This report will be submitted to the City Attorney, City of Miami Beach Attorney, to the Department of Homeland Security, to the U.S. Secret Service, and to the Department of Treasury regarding this fraud. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jason Gross.
Jason, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Jason Gross. I am the condo board president of Bayview Terrace, which is at 1228 West Avenue, Miami Beach. I am a resident of the building as well. We are located immediately south of the proposed development. I would like to express support for the direction this project design has evolved. We believe the development team has made meaningful refinements, particularly the lowered pedestal height and increased setback from the bay, that have improved the overall architectural character and compatibility of the project within the neighborhood context. We also appreciate the developer's responsiveness in providing plans, studies, and other materials that have helped our residents better understand the latest design updates and changes to the building massing. We believe that the project reflects a thoughtful and well-considered approach, and we appreciate the professional manner in which the development team has engaged with the surrounding community throughout the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Isaac Lustgarten.
Isaac, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Good morning to everyone. My name is Isaac Lustgarten. I'm a resident of Miami Beach for around 8 years. I've lived in the city of Miami for nearly 30. I am in favor of this project. I believe the developers and their team have done a beautiful job of putting together a tower that will be a beacon to the Miami Beach skyline. And the architecture of the tower shows careful consideration to modern architecture. A lot of towers in our city are not pleasing to see, and this is not one of them. In addition, I believe that the landscaping component that the group has put forth carefully blends with the neighboring tower, and it will further enhance West Avenue, both on the east and on the west side. The Baywalk happens to be an extra great point that matters to us residents in Miami Beach. I live in Sunset Harbor, and I love to be able to walk up and down West Avenue. So when this is complete, it will further enhance our quality of life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, there's no name, it just says Zoom user.
Yes, hi. My name is Fifi Bassin.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thanks.
I am in definitely support of this project. This has cleaned up the area tremendously. The developer has brought in a cleaner environment already, and I believe that this will be an asset to the area. I've been living there for many, many years, and I'm totally in support of this this development and beautiful, beautiful setup. Thank you.
Next, we have Raleigh.
Raleigh, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your full name and address.
Raleigh Smith. I live on Belle Isle, close by to to 1250, and I'm just looking forward to this new development. I know it's going to be beautiful and make a great addition to the Miami Beach skyline. For me personally, as somebody who lives close by, I love to walk my dog in the neighborhood, and just having a open area to walk my dog right by the bay walk is going to be amazing. And I know the landscaping, everything looks beautiful, so I'm totally in favor of this new design. Thank you.
Next, we have iPhone 236.
Hi, this is Eyal Horovitz.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I live at 5401 Pine Tree, and I am very excited for this building. I love the greenery. I love the design. I think it definitely is going to enhance, the landscape of the overall area, and I'm just excited for this project.
Okay, next we have Liz Kennedy.
Liz, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thanks. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I moved here from LA in July. I'm at 1000 Venetian. I have a 6-year-old son, and I am so impressed with everything that's happening in Miami. I'm sure you all know what a mess LA is, and it's such an honor to live here and to be able to walk by that property. Everything is just so pristine. They're putting so much effort into it, and I just can't stress enough, coming from something that I did, which felt like a third world country, this is going to be something that's actually going to help the community and make it even more aesthetically pleasing and a great place for moms.
Okay, next we have Candice Padovic.
Candice, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole
Hi.
truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, good morning. Okay, so I live on Belle Island. Also, I do own a few properties in Miami Beach, under 750,000, and then I work in the field of interior design for luxury real estate. So just to give you a background on where my perspective is coming from, is that here in Miami Beach, it's evolving. This is a new generation, and for me, this building sets the precedent, because what I'm seeing is a lot of tropical, modern architecture, interior design. People want to live outside. They want to be outside. It's beautiful here. The health and wellness is really on an uptick. And I think that if we do approve these buildings, let these buildings design as they know how, these architects design, is that it's really going to put Miami in a new perspective, because what we've seen in the past is kind of buildings that are built and they're not quality. People come here and people, they get kind of fooled. They buy something for very high value, not a high quality. And that kind of sets a bad reputation for Miami and our field. And when we have buildings like this that people are paying a top dollar for a high value, we bring a different community, we have a different demand, and the community gets to evolve into something new. I mean, Miami, the Art Deco architecture, which we know and love, and it's a part of our history, but unfortunately it wasn't built to last. And so now this new wave, this new next generation, up to the city to really allow this to flourish to its highest possibility. And then also with this new luxury real estate, in conjunction with the city, having the influx of taxes and all this money to improving our streets and improving all the surroundings. So the developers are doing their part to their capacity. And then, we hope that Miami Beach heads in the same direction. So I'm absolutely for this project.
Okay, next we have Seth Fewer.
Seth, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks, for this great presentation this morning. Seth Fewer, 1330 West Avenue. I've been a resident of West Avenue for better than 25 years. I own 2 properties on the avenue, both here and at 1228 West. Through the trials and tribulations and finally getting to this day, it's really amazing to see how much positivity you're getting today from the neighbors, from the neighborhood, not just West Avenue, Belle Isle, and around Miami Beach. Fully support the project. I only have one request. The Bay Walk is one of our most amazing assets on Miami Beach, so I would just ask that be embellished and also be completed as soon as possible, because it really is just such a great thing. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's time we get it done. Thank you guys for an amazing project.
Okay, next we have Taylor Travaglioni.
Taylor, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and good morning. Yes, Taylor Travaglioni. I'm here on behalf of One Sotheby's. I'm the head of growth for the company. We have offices nearby this wonderful new project, in addition to many staff and agents. And just want to just take a moment and appreciate the thoughtfulness that actually went into this project and all of the details. Not to mention what has already been expressed on the Baywalk, which we all know to be a massive asset, not just to the beach and the residents, but also for visitors alike. In addition to that, the tower portion that's set back from the street and bay is more than the zoning allows, is also something that I think is worth mentioning. And one thing to appreciate, again, with the thoughtfulness and the approach to this project and the scale and what you're trying to develop. So thank you for the time. Just want to support and wish everyone a great day.
All right, and next we have Julian.
Julian, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Good morning. I personally was born in Miami Beach and have lived in Miami Beach for the past 39 years. After seeing this presentation, to me, it looks like this project is one of the most impressive I've seen on Miami Beach. I think absolutely would improve the neighborhood, improve Miami Beach, improve our global, the way we look globally to the city. And I would really much support this project. The landscaping component is gorgeous. I think the street could use a lot of upgrading, and this is one of the first projects that I think really shows that, in my opinion, and I really would like to support it. Thank you.
All right, and we have no other hands raised online. But we can, I don't know if anybody in the audience. Come on up if you'd like to speak.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Jacob
sorry,
Bassolini.
were you sworn earlier?
Oh, I was not, no.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thanks.
My name is Jacob Bassolini, and I'm here today to support this project. West Avenue deserves this level of investment, and the project delivers it. The tropical architecture, warm natural materials, and thoughtful landscaping blend beautifully with the neighborhood while bringing much needed shade and greenery to the corridor. As a resident, I believe this project will be a welcomed addition to the Miami Beach skyline. The continued investment in this corridor and an approval like this will pave the way for future development that this neighborhood deserves. I urge the board to support it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. I haven't been sworn in.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Edelstein. I've been a resident of Miami Beach for about 6 years now, and everything that I wanted to say has been said already. But just the style of the design, the architecture, the Brazilian wood, and especially the landscaping. We've all walked on West Ave in the middle of the day under the blazing sun. I think the landscaping will really be a nice relief to all of us. And also getting rid of the rambunctious bikini hostel will be a really welcome asset to the neighborhood, and I really just look forward to seeing this project come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alex Xakoustis. I've been around for a while. I've been in Miami Beach for most of my life, I would say. So I don't know where to start. The building is beautiful. Everybody has seen it. You guys are all into the design, so I don't know how to praise it enough. Amazing landscape, very organic. I'm familiar with the architects and the designers. The developer has done amazing projects. So I'm definitely in favor. The boardwalk is one of the biggest things for me because everybody can enjoy it. Nothing but good things, and I hope there are going to be many more projects like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Isabel and I live on West Avenue. I've been living in West Avenue for the past few years. For a single girl like me, walking on the streets at the during night, it's one of the best things that could have happened to the neighborhood not to have the bikini hostel anymore, which I used to have right across the street from my house. And now everybody saw the project. The building is going to be amazing, and I think that the Bay Walk, when it's completed, it's going to be even more beautiful for everybody. Also, my other friends that live in the area, they like to walk over there, so I think it's going to be great. And yeah, I fully support this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Kichayeva. First, I'm a mother of two, and the bikini hostel was definitely something that made us feel scared and unwanted in the neighborhood. And in terms of the design, we really love the landscaping and how it's going to just really add to our neighborhood. And on Saturday mornings, we love to do walks around the beach, and right now it's kind of difficult and troublesome to get around. So we're really looking forward to the Bay Walk getting built out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
We did, one more hand was raised while they were speaking, if you'd like to. Yeah. Tyler Pasco.
Tyler, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak. I just wanted to quickly echo the sentiments of everyone before me. I live on Belle Isle on 31 Venetian Way, and obviously love my neighborhood, and I think that this project would be a very welcomed addition to everything that Miami Beach has to offer. So thank you all for the time, and yeah.
Thank you.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Matthew Goltanoff, 125 Jefferson Avenue. I wanted to speak this morning about the site plan. I want to thank the applicants and everyone here who has contributed so much to this project over the last couple of years. I read the staff report this morning and I noted that they were extremely concerned about the Baywalk and the configuration of the Baywalk. As someone who enjoys all of our public spaces on Miami Beach, the Baywalk, which is many decades in the making, is extremely important. And I'm concerned that we may run into a situation like we have on the pedestrian bridge and other segments of the Baywalk, where if it's over the water and not part of the upland property, as the development agreement states, it may not get built or may be built many years from now. So I would encourage you all, when you review and deliberate, to consider where the Baywalk segments are actually being built. Because if it is over the water, in addition to perhaps delays, also you have, it goes back and forth, weaves in and out, and that's not a great experience. So I just want to, again, encourage that if possible, the Baywalk be built on the land adjacent to the seawall, like many other segments of the Baywalk are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chair, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, I think we finished. We can.
One more hand was raised, if you want to allow it. Marco Gojanovic. And if anybody else, please raise your hand now or forever hold your peace.
Thank you.
Marco, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marco Gojanovic, and I've lived in Miami Beach for 20 years, and I currently live in Sunset Harbor. I am definitely in favor of this project. I absolutely love the trajectory, first, of Miami Beach and where it's going with the new infrastructure, architecture, and all the new residents that have helped enhance our city's growth. And I'm very happy to see the enhancement of West Avenue, as it's very much needed. And I'm very in love with the tropical design and this landscaping plan. With the Bikini Hostel gone and the walkability of Baywalk coming closer to fruition, I'm in favor of this project. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No more hands are raised.
Okay, now we can turn it over to the board. Thank you for the presentation and all the public as well.
Gracias.
Thank you. Regarding the Bay Walk, I know that the Bay Walk behind the Mondrian was done fairly quickly and it's up. Can you maybe explain what's the difference in maybe in size or in width, or how does it compare to the Bay Walk on the Mondrian and their timing and your timing to actually make that happen? Is the Bay Walk going to start after the construction of the project is done or at the same time or prior? Can you elaborate on that?
So I can have Hernando talk about the timing of construction of the Bay Walk and our tower. I think it'll be contemporaneously, but I'll let him confirm that. And you do bring up a good point, Andres, that this overwater Bay Walk is not such a significant revolution that we are proposing. In fact, it already exists behind the Mondrian and the condo associations that flank the Mondrian. That's what 1228 is being proposed. So it's going to be a significant portion of this Bay Walk is going to be overwater. The analogy to the pedestrian bridge over Fifth Street is misplaced, because there you have significant FPL lines that cannot be discovered with any adequate type of efforts by David or FPL, unfortunately. That's not the case here. So I don't see the same risk that speakers saw. But do you guys know about the timing?
So, good morning, Nicholas Rodriguez, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. The development agreement requires, before we can get a TCO or a CO for the building, the bay walks have to be done. So we can't occupy the building or build this building until the bay walk's done. We can't get a building permit.
I understand, but are you doing it prior or are you waiting for the last 6 months to do the Bay Walk?
No, we're working on it every day. We're working with the condo associations. We're using the exact same contracting company.
Right.
that
So
built
my
the
question is,
overwater.
do you think that it's going to take till TCO, or do you think that it might be able to be handed over to people to be able to use prior to then?
It should be done before. The constructability doesn't take that long. The part that takes the longest is getting agreement from the upland condo owners of the other segments. Our segment can be done concurrently with the building. It would take like maybe 18 months to construct. It's not that difficult. The permitting process is a challenge, but since we're doing 3 other overwater segments, it's really just in line with what we're already doing. The challenge with completing the Bay Walk segment is entirely getting the buildings to agree to those easement agreements.
And it would be similar to what's behind the Mondrian?
Yes, what's behind the Mondrian is actually 10 feet. Our development agreement requires us to seek 5 feet wider, 15 feet. It's subject to the state agencies permitting it that wide, but we are going to be seeking a 5 foot wider. Every segment that we're building will be 5 feet wider than what's at the
So
Mondrian.
if the state agency says you can't do 15 feet, then you push back?
Then we have to bring it back down to 10, right? Ultimately.
Understood.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't want to waste anyone's time and echo all of the beautiful compliments to this project, but I just wanted to say that I feel like I'm living in a moment of New York City pre-West Side Highway and High Line, and what this project will do to the West Avenue area and the Bay Walk will not only affect all the people who are lucky enough to live in this gorgeous building and look at it, but I think the businesses and the safety and the community will really benefit for decades to come. And I'm really excited to see this level of project being built in that area. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rogelio, can I ask a question? Is there a waiver being sought or no? I saw in the intro paragraph.
No, there's no waiver being sought.
Okay.
We typically advertise them in an abundance of caution in case one needs to be added throughout the discussion. We're ready to go, but no, there's no waiver being
It's just
sought.
design review.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, agreed. I think that the building is beautiful. I live in this neighborhood, so, I'm very happy to see the improvements here. I had a question about the samples. Thank you for bringing them too. I think that's very helpful. This one in particular, it said aluminum, I think, in all the plans, but that's actually wood, right?
Yes, this is the shape of the privacy screen,
Oh,
but
okay.
this is the material that
Yeah,
we are going
which
to
wood
use, which is
exactly
aluminum.
do you want to use?
It will be aluminum or composite aluminum that it looks like wood.
Yes,
So-
we need to
Okay,
customize
so it's
the
that
profile.
shape, but this material.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And are you proposing both species or colors?
Well, not actually. This is one of the cladding systems for the front facade, which will be also made with aluminum, and this is how they interlock. But the lighter pattern is the one that we are picking for the privacy screen.
Okay, and that's consistent through the building, this white
Exactly.
oak?
And it's going to be, it's going to be completely connected and coordinated with the interiors. So inside of the building, we are using natural materials, so therefore wood, some panelings and ceilings, but outside everything is aluminum.
Quick question through the chair. How is that cleaned? Do you hose that down? Do you have to clean with a wipe throughout every single?
Yeah, this element is going to be not with this black panel, so it's going to be see-through. And it's going to be usually used
Hose it?
with
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. It would be like
something.
That's in every balcony.
pressure in the steel.
Yes, it's a portion of the
Yeah.
balcony, yeah.
Is set outside of the glazing, in front of the glazing, and it turns out to form.
So you'll have water hoses in every balcony?
No, we don't need to be,
No.
no, it's
So
just,
you-
you just have to
Swiffer.
clean, exactly, you have just to clean the glazing. I don't, I just to do. Yeah.
There you go.
It's a good logistical question.
Through the chair, Mr. Larkin, you said that this would be a sizable construction period. Could you define that?
Sure. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Like following the DRB approval today, how long do you think it would take to prepare the building permit plans?
To prepare the building plans, hopefully we will have a building permit before the end of the year.
An actual permit issued?
And the permit issue, it will take another 6 to 7 months, perhaps 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once the permit issues, then how long will it take to construct this building?
I believe that the project is to be 30 months.
30 months.
30 months, 33 months, right? Yeah.
That's right.
We're looking at 3 years,
Mhm.
give or take?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe a little longer. Yeah. A year for permits and then another almost 3 years, yeah.
So through the chair, just last comment. The design is absolutely beautiful. Tara does excellent work throughout South Florida, and I think it's arguably the best views from Miami are exactly from that area, and at that height that it's being built, the views are going to be absolutely bar none some of the best views in South Florida. Clean bay views, then the islands, then the whole entire city skyline. It's going to be gorgeous. A lot of detail went into landscaping design, creation of this project, and it looks beautiful. So congratulations.
Thank you. You know, it makes me want to live there. And I asked David for a friends and family discount, and he's like, "Who are you?" So, I think the answer is no.
Do you want to?
I just want to congratulate you for your design, a very beautiful building, and certainly an asset to the entire city, as well as West Avenue. I have a question. Once you finish your approval here, before you go to permitting, you have to get approval for the Bay Walk from how many other entities besides the city of Miami Beach?
Durham, DEP, South Florida Water Management District, U.S. Army Corps.
And you feel all those will be accomplished, the approval, during the time that you're obtaining the permit for Miami Beach and doing your construction documents?
Yeah, because we're not reinventing the wheel. You know, if the overwater concept did not exist already, I would be more hesitant in my response. But since it does, and we're using the same exact consulting engineers, I don't see an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have just a couple things. So for the Baywalk and what the staff is suggesting, and I'm just going to sort of reiterate so I understand this. This is an overwater section, and the other sections that you guys are building will be overwater as well, or those are on land?
I think almost all of them will be overwater.
Again, Nicholas Rodriguez says all the other segments have to be overwater because they're adjacent to existing buildings where the pool decks come right adjacent to the property line. So the only way to accommodate it within existing construction. There's an existing segment from 10th to 13th Street. The property immediately to the south of us is 1228 West Ave. That has to be over water because their pool deck comes right up to the property line. So what we're proposing is essentially just continuing that rather than bringing it into our property at the southern side, just continue an overwater bait walk segment all the way from 10th Street to the end of our property line where it comes back to land at Monad Terrace.
So the bay walk will be in and out, basically. And is there a master plan idea for the bay walk to keep consistency? I'm going off of Jessica, what you're saying about setting precedent and this being a public and very usable. And I know, some people are on their bikes, which they're not supposed to, but making turns and stuff. How is that being controlled? And then if you can explain what the staff is concerned with the Baywalk.
So the Baywalk concept comes from the Dade County Shoreline Review Ordinance, which dates back to the late 70s. And so pieces of the Baywalk have been built over many, 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 many years, and each piece is different as standards have evolved, as site constraints provide opportunities to complete segments. And so they're all very different. So there is likely never going to be a uniform, consistent path. Each segment's going to be a little bit different, which provides some variety and some visual interest as you're going along the path. But it is being designed in a way where it will be flush surfaces all around. You're not going to have to go up and down steps or anything. So you're going to be able to continuously go through the path comfortably. What staff is okay with the bay walk over the water. There are several cities where that's done. There are several segments here where that's done. So there's no concerns with that. And actually, they're providing a viewing platform, which I think would be a great amenity to enhance the use of the bay walk. It provides some additional public space where people can hang out, take a look at the view, see the sunset. And so that's a great amenity that would not be possible if it were done on the property itself. They would not be giving that extra space if it were on the property itself. So there are some benefits to what they're proposing. Staff's main concern is just to make sure that it can actually be built, though we think it can. There are segments that have been permitted. It is subject to other outside agencies' approval. So we just want to have a backup in case something happens, there's a hiccup, for whatever reason, the development agreement's not amended, allowing the Baywalk to be over the water, that there be a backup plan, that they have to construct the Baywalk on their property prior to getting their TCO. So that's our concern. And so we've incorporated a condition where we could approve that if that comes to be, that they're not able to build it over the water, we can administratively approve the public Baywalk over the private property. So we have that condition in the order that would allow us to approve it administratively rather than having to make them go through the whole process and come back before the board to approve that. So it would be designed in if that were to come to fruition, they would basically have to put a public space along the waterfront on their property, would have to follow the landscape guidelines of the Baywalk standards that Dade County has. They would be able to protect it from their private areas with fencing and other materials. And so it would be built that way, which there are other projects which can be used as examples for how that was done.
Okay,
But we are supportive of it over the water. We have no issues with it. It's just we just want to make sure that there be a Baywalk in the event that something happens and they're not able to get it approved.
Right, so the backup for all the properties, all three of these will be, well, ones can't be built on their property, so the other two will be.
And I understand your concern about, well, it's not going to have one uniform look, but, the Shoreline Development Review Committee takes a long view of things, and it's not just Miami Beach they're interested in. Miami, Bay Harbor Islands, like everywhere where there is frontage on Biscayne Bay. And their view is the property may not develop in 5 years, in 10 years, maybe 20 years, but when it redevelops, that's when we get our chance to shape it. And the access, I think, is most important to that committee more than anything else.
I think to Rogelio's point, I'm sorry to interrupt, is that if it can be seamless, that a stroller or runner for safety issues is kind of the more important for usability than it is the visual, in my estimation.
ADA.
So it has to be fully ADA compliant per the DA. So that's why some of the diagrams that Hernando was showing you with the ramps and the elevation changes was to keep it smooth throughout.
Chair, I have a quick question regarding that. Is there being integration with the city regarding the cameras on the Baywalk side the way that there is on the Ocean Walk side?
We've had discussions with CIP. It's up to the property owners, whether they request that, whether they want it. I think most do. And I don't think we have an issue with providing the security cameras and then tying them in with the city of Miami Beach Police.
So this particular property owner, are they okay with integrating with the city of Miami Beach to be able to have cameras on the Baywalk behind the property?
I know at least one of them has asked for us to do that, yes.
So 1250 will have cameras?
1250, yeah, we can have cameras.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have backup for this property, but the other two properties is not under the same discretion, right?
Correct. The other two properties are not under the purview of this order, of this, of what's being discussed here today.
Application, yeah.
Okay.
Those will be forthcoming, hopefully, at some point.
Right. And the viewing platform, are you talking about the fenced-in area, the sort of, the bump on the walk?
Yes, so in the, sort of, in the center of the walkway, you see that it sticks out a little bit more.
But that's a private element.
That would be open to the public, that would be part of it.
We've gone back and forth a little bit, but Mr. Chairman, if that's important to you, we can have it open to the public, that viewing platform.
I think he was under the impression it was public, so I just.
Oh, I was
and
under, yeah.
It's fenced
Right.
in.
Oh, I didn't, okay. I
And my
apologize.
question to you guys would be, is how high is that fence? Because you're going along the walk, and all of a sudden you've got a fence for 50% of it, which is like a nice little private waterfront.
It would be between 42 inches and 44 inches height, which is for a building code for a guardrail.
So the tenants have access to a little private area that bumps out on the walk. Just,
Okay, I apologize. I thought it was all seamless. I missed that.
does that change your staff?
You said you're okay with it?
Well, let me veer back to my client one
Yep.
second. Let the record reflect, he gave a thumbs up.
And I haven't necessarily formulated opinion, I'm just opening it so
I
people
think
understand.
I want to be in alignment with Rogelio, and if he misunderstood, I don't want to feel bad about that, so it's okay to have it open to the public.
Thank you.
Going back to the backup plan, I just want to ask the board, like, this, if it does have to go on the main land, it seems like it would take up a significant amount of space where your pool is, right? So I just want to ask everyone here, like, if that was the case, which seems like it's going to be a slim chance of happening, but would we want to see that? I mean, it seems like it's a major change to the footprint. Maybe we don't need to see it, but it is a public space.
What are you proposing?
Instead of, if they have to come back with their backup plan, I think the way Rogelio has presented it is they would just work with staff to do that. But like, do we want to see the Baywalk if it has to be on the mainland? Because their pool footprint, it takes a big, I don't think, it doesn't seem like.
What are the
it's
chances
happen.
that that would happen? Why would it happen?
So the development agreement needs to be modified by the city commission. I don't see why they wouldn't, but that's up to their purview. I can't tell you how that's gonna play out.
Yeah,
Each
I'm just
board
saying,
has its own-
it's in line with everything else that's doing. I don't think why there's going to be any pushback on having it continue.
So all we're doing is saying, I think what Laura's saying is, if
In
it
the
does
event.
For us
happen,
to
Right.
see it, yeah, if it
Yeah,
does
it's not a
happen.
big deal. I
does
don't,
the project need to come back to DRB, or does it continue with the approval from the planning department?
Just because it's such a
understand.
significant change to the, I don't know, maybe we won't,
We can come back.
yeah.
The way the condition is worded
Yeah.
now is
I-
staff approval, if this happens in the future, but if you all are more comfortable with us coming back and considering the modification, we're happy to come back to you all.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
I
you.
would appreciate that.
Yep.
I would feel more comfortable.
I don't think it's
Hopefully that doesn't
good,
happen,
it's
but-
not likely, but we'll come back if necessary.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
I also have another question off the Baywalk. I don't know if we're ready to move on, though. Does anyone
Well,
else-
let's finish the Baywalk conversation.
Okay.
No more
Oh, we are
Baywalk?
finished the Baywalk.
No, I want to finish. If you have more Baywalk, let's, okay, let's move on.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, is it a similar, on the park, or whatever it ends up being, is it also conditioned on that being built before you go to TCO, or what's the story on that side of the?
So there's a time frame for the city to choose what to do. It's 2 years from last June. And then the city will let us know. And if they choose to proceed with the park, then we have a specific time frame to permit, get the park done, and deliver it to the city within those timeframes. And it does have to be done before the building is occupied. If the city chooses to do something else with the property other than a park, then we would just convey the property to them with a cash contribution towards whatever they want to do with it.
Got it, okay,
And
thank you.
Rogelio, would that require, if they want to proceed with a park or something else, does that require that parcel to come back to Design Review Board?
Yes.
Okay.
They do make nice parks.
Is there a financial obligation, like park or whatever, like say the city wants a super expensive park, is?
It's a $2 million park is what it is. If it's not a park, then the $2 million just goes to the city as cash.
There's a lot you can do with $2 million, so it's going to be a nice park.
Depending on the size of the elephant.
Goes by quickly.
I have one question, one question regarding the rain garden and bioswale systems. Is that going to be integrated into the tropical plantains, or that's completely separate?
No, it's in the same garden.
During
area.
the same section, like
Yes,
landscaping will be
yes,
part of the
underneath
bioswale
of that.
system?
We will have to coordinate with the location. Oh, we have no civil engineer.
Hernando Navas with 3242 Corporate Way, Miramar, Florida. I'm the civil consultant for the project. Could you repeat the question?
I was wondering how the bioswale system worked with land, as part of the landscaping system? Or
Yes. What we're trying to do is the bioswales, the purpose of the bioswale is to, some of the rainwater that falls on the walls of the building will reach the ground on the perimeter of the building. And rather than getting that water and injecting it at 80 feet, which is lost, we're trying to get that bioswale to basically equally distribute that water underneath the ground at the surface level to be able to keep what is called the freshwater lens of the city. And the importance of the freshwater lens is the fact that you want that fresh water to keep pushing that salt water down and away from the city area, so that not only the vegetation on our building, but the vegetation at the regional level could actually keep and stay alive because you have more fresh water, less salt water. Does that make sense to you?
And you use less irrigation water, basically, from...
Absolutely, because again, we're allowing that water to infiltrate, percolate, and, commingle with the soil to be able to keep that moist.
It also won't dump into the bay as well, because it's being held.
Correct. It will eventually just seep through, and any excess water will overflow into the well system, the drainage wells, which are the ones that go 80 feet below grade, and that water will be injected for flood control.
Okay. I was just curious. Thanks.
Thank you. If I didn't say it, the building is very elegant and clean and simple, and I do really like the design. For the board, the staff is asking about the presence and the iconicness of the roof and the top element. And right now, it's basically clad in the wood slats. And I don't know if anybody on the board has any feeling about that, or
You put the rendering up of what
Yeah,
we're
can
speaking
you-
about, please?
The rendering of the rooftop?
You guys have that?
Slide 19, maybe.
I think.
Yeah,
think
we talked
19.
about-
We're getting to it.
Yeah, this is, we developed this detail of the rooftop. Do you want-
I just want to explain a little bit because the way that we see the architecture is through a very minimalistic line. And we want the portion of we wanted to recess the tall portion of the roof to be actually not visible. So the way that we understood what will be more subtle and will be more, let's say, generous to the city would be to allow this element to be seamless as possible. I think it's more from a sort of it's a different approach of trying to stand out. It's more like treating with the same elements and with the same quality that we are going to treat the rest of the facade. We are allowing a very lush garden to happen around the pool, and this garden will be surrounding the full footprint of the rooftop. So we feel that that should be more like an extension of the external area than an element that should stand out. So that was the approach. The thing that we are using on the sides are a kind of a shading element that is a pergola, that is also something that could allow some transparency and some light filter to enhance this piece of livable space. So that was what drove the design, that more than trying to create, let's say, a standout element. So that was the approach, you know. So to change that, it could be done, but I believe, in my opinion, that solution would be a more subtle solution for the city.
So the green shaded areas will have landscaping in the future?
Exactly. Instead of trying to make it being an element, I think the full tower is already the element for the skyline. I don't think that the roof is the main character of the building. The full building should be the element that would stand out and be part of the skyline. This is how we feel that the rooftop should be treated.
That was my question, which you just answered. And so as the designer of the building itself is the icon. You want to keep its simplicity and its floating plates as an element, not introduce something else to.
Decorative, you know. I think that's the main.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the roof. You're not going to see any of this, and the staff has brought it up, and so if we approve it, it's just under their purview to decide if they wanted to make any modifications, right?
That was our recommendation, yeah. We just looked, some of the other buildings along West Avenue do have crowns, for lack of a better term. Waverly has the waves, the Fifth and Alton project has a canopy structure along the rooftop perimeter. Murano Grande has those swooping elements on the rooftop. So there's several buildings which do have some sort of an element on the rooftop. But we understand this is something we brought up early on in our review. We understand their point of view, and it is valid. But so it's we just wanted to mention that.
It's another reason why I like to see the night renderings, because the presence of the evening is very impactful. So I don't know how these are lit. I also noticed in the renderings, and this is not really for us, but it's just glass to underside a slab. So there's no. Is there going to be a drop ceiling within the living spaces on the glazing?
Not actually, because just in some interior portions where we have the air ducting system running, the actual livable space, the living space that are behind the glass, they will be full height.
Okay, so
we're dropping ceilings in kitchen,
bathrooms and closer to the core. Yeah.
You know, not that I would think someone would, but sometimes they come in and they start running cove lights around, and then this building starts to light up.
This is exactly what we want to avoid.
Yeah. And again, the lighting for the exterior of the building is not, it's something that comes after the approval.
It can be. I mean, it typically happens that way if we don't expect anything major, any elements that we think are going to be highlighted in the evenings. With this we think it's going to be pretty standard lighting.
Do you have any ideas of how you want to light the building? Are you going to keep it?
I think it's a balance. Usually we want the architecture, the way that we perceive it. During the day, it should be, let's say, a kind of an element that it's more like a portion of the city skyline. But at night, I think it can work like a lighthouse in a way, because all buildings do. But from our ID perspective, we would not make it like stand out. I think we can, let's say, enhance a bit the wooden portions that could be more like, that are related not just to the front and the side, the rear facade, but also on the sides, but more from inside to create a sort of a smooth buffer of light and not something that is very direct. So what we would do is to have eventually lights on the floor and have them coming up in a more subtle way, not something, we don't want spotlights that should be going, what people would perceive seeing from below. Is exactly the opposite. And then we would mark those horizontal elements also during by night. So trying to be very subtle to create this ambience that is more like a lamp than the focus point, you know?
No, that's great. Good answer. I think I think that's it, except, so the only amenities in the building are on the ground level, so there's no floor that has extra high ceilings that we're going to, and I'm speaking, am I looking, I don't see it in the rendering, but a 12-foot floor to floor within the middle of the building that will then have that presence like we see in some other projects.
No, all the amenities are at the ground level, and we have the club at the basement one. No, nothing about that.
The tower is strictly
I think the roof
residential
is just
space.
private. The pools on the roof, I think, are for the penthouses, right? Or is the roof public or private?
Private.
No, it's private, it's part of the penthouse.
No, like I said, I think it's a beautiful project. I really like what you did on the ground and the grade and the parking, and I know what it takes to dig this hole. But to not have, I said this yesterday to these guys, to not have parking visible is something I think that the city needs. Tired of seeing 6 stories of parking everywhere, and I know what it takes to dig this, so thank you.
Through the chair, are those 2 penthouses? Those are 2 units? Yes.
Right.
Anybody?
Motion to approve?
Second.
So that would be with the modification to the condition requiring the bay walk to come back in the event that,
Yes, with modification.
that they're not able to do it on the water.
I would also like to make sure that the Baywalk has connectivity to the real-time intelligence center of the city.
Sorry, I'm sorry, to where?
Time Intelligence Center.
Oh,
We're
okay.
mentioning make sure that we have connectivity for video surveillance on that Baywalk.
And that the platform be open to the public.
Yes, yes, adding the platform, be open to the public.
Okay. We actually have a condition on the platform being open to the public that came from the Shoreline Review Committee, which is the applicant shall proffer a covenant acceptable to the city of Miami Beach that ensures continuous public access to the dedicated waterfront viewing platform observation deck.
Well, there you go.
So that came from the,
They thought ahead.
okay. Are there any issues with the the camera?
I'm not sure that that's an appropriate
Request.
design-related condition, but
You guys know best. It's just that the topic was brought up of the Baywalk, and if it could be done, it would be great because it's an asset for security for the building and for the people behind the building as well.
We voluntarily proffer the idea that it should be integrated into the city system.
okay.
So are we ready for a motion? Okay, I make a motion that we approve the project at 1250 West Avenue, DRB 25-11.
We had a motion already.
Motion was.
Okay.
Yeah,
With
from-
all the
With all the caveats.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you include the park also, that the property across the street, that it come back to DRB if it does?
That would just be a code requirement. It has
Okay,
to come
all right,
to the DRB.
okay.
I do want to clarify, so then would the board like to remove, if the board is okay with the way the roof is designed, I would say that we remove the condition, condition ID2A.
Yes.
Or is that 2? That should be 1. I'll renumber that.
Yes.
What is it read, Rogelio?
The applicant shall explore alternative architectural treatments
Oh.
on the rooftop in order to provide greater visual interest, subject to the review and approval of staff consistent with the DRB criteria and/or directions from the board. And then we provide some options. But if the board is okay with that, then we can remove this condition.
Okay, removing it.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, I think I have all 3 changes. The camera, that the cameras be integrated with the city's camera system, that if the Baywalk not be on the water, that it come back to the DRB, and then removal of the condition for the rooftop.
And the
So-
platform being accessible, which
That is actually in the
was
order.
already
Yeah.
on the, okay.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Lester. We have a second by Ms. Mindich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Much luck to all of you.
Let the regular people in now. I'll just take this one. Self-sufficient. Huh? You're self-sufficient. Yeah, I don't like that. It doesn't feel right.
Did you see American Pie? Doesn't she remind you of the actress from American Pie? Totally, right? Oh my God. Like, look at this.
I've heard that he keeps repeating. I'm just scared of these paints, you know? Sorry about what?
Did I leave a mess?
No, we were glad that we had your level of expertise in epic development. It's important, like, oh, there's some value added.
probably the only game in town that's left. So now, you could place Noway. Noway's not going to. Is he gone?
What are we waiting for?
We can begin. $1,700 Convention Center Drive.
The next item is DRB 261170 1700 Convention Center Drive, known as the G5 17th Street Parking Garage. This application has been filed requesting design review approval for the construction of a new enclosed padel court facility located at the rooftop level of an existing parking garage, including one or more waivers.
Okay, so this is, for background, this was as a result of an RFP issued by the City Commission requesting for the construction, management, and operation of paddle facilities on the rooftop of parking garage G5, which is the parking garage that's just across the street from City Hall to the south of 17th Street. And so on January 6, 2026, the city entered into an agreement with Miami Beach Racquet Club LLC, who's the applicant who's here with this proposal. So this is going to be on the rooftop of that garage. That garage was built in the 1970s. Not the most aesthetically pleasing garage that the city has. However, it's been recently wrapped with some wraps that give it some interesting design elements. But those wraps are a separate issue. That's not under discussion today. That might come before the board in the future to make those permanent. So this is going to be on the rooftop. The applicant's going to be building 10 paddle courts on the rooftop. They're going to be building it's going to have some retail space for paddle equipment. It's going to have basically a club area for members that are there waiting to be able to enjoy and wait and have a drink. And then this whole structure is going to be covered by a parametric PVC canvas facade skin. It's going to be semi-transparent, so some light will be able to glow out of it at night. And so it does provide an interesting design for the structure. The structure rises 34 feet above the roof level, so the garage will appear to be taller than it currently is. However, it is well within the height limits for this district. It is within the CCC, which is the Convention Center District, where City Hall is part of that Convention Center District. The Convention Center is obviously part of it, and the Convention Center Hotel under construction across the street is part of it. So it does provide some additional activation for this space, provides additional areas for paddle, which is in very, very high demand in the city. We can't seem to not be able to get enough of this use in the city. It does improve the aesthetics of the building, and staff is supportive of the proposal and recommends that it be approved subject to the conditions in the attached draft order.
As always, Mr. Bedin has made my presentation unnecessary, but we'll soldier on anyway. Graham Penn, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard. What we're going to hand out to you are two things. I'm going to hand out the materials, and what my lovely and talented assistant, Mr. Sherry, is handing out is a couple of additional sheets that show a little more detail on the roof, including the mechanical equipment location, and so you can see that the mechanical equipment will not be visible from the street, as well as a couple additional renderings. As to materials, this cannot be a simpler structure. We have two materials that are at play. We have the skin, which is this element, which I'm going to hand out so everyone can see it and feel it, and we have the aluminum elements, which are these two. So Ben, if you could do me a favor and just hand those to everyone. Sure.
Do we have to notify disclosures now?
We can do that at the start of the public hearing.
Okay.
And speaking of that, Justin, we do need to swear in Mr. Juan Pablo Maria Valero, who might have to speak.
Sure. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, so along with Juan Pablo, we've got Nala Grinda representing the owner, Jose Lobo, the architect, who's going to get up and as soon as I stop blathering, and my colleagues, Mr. Ben Sherry and Michael Larkin. So as Rogelio explained, we're very excited about this application, more excited than I usually am in front of you, because this is bringing a needed public recreational use to an underutilized building in the city of Miami Beach. And those of you who have had the opportunity to take a site visit know this is an underutilized building, at least the portion that we're utilizing. So here we go. This is an aerial view. Again, no surprise, the 17th Street garage is surrounded by the G5 garage on the east, the Burdine/Macy's building on the west, Lincoln Road, Gross Lincoln Lane to the south, and the City Hall Convention Center complex on the north. You can see that empty space there to our northeast is where the hotel is going. The closest residential is blocks away from us. As Rogelio explained, this property is zoned and planned convention center, and the uses in it include commercial uses and other uses that are supportive of the convention center area. This is a view of the existing conditions of the roof, which is the subject of our lease. As you can see, the condition that you're seeing it in these two photographs is pretty much the condition it is all the time, which is empty, right? The utilization of this entire garage it was estimated at the time we did the lease at 69%. That means that at any given time, there are about 460 parking spaces empty in this structure. Our project, as you'll see when Jose explains it, impacts 167 of those spaces. So there will be surplus parking even when we're there, significant surplus parking, nearly 300 spaces. Briefly on the schedule, thanks to the guidance largely Commissioner Joe Magazine, the City Commission moved forward with an RFP early last year, who happens to be in the room, with RFP for this use to activate the garage in the beginning of last year. We won that lease, and we entered into a lease agreement with the city. So the Padalex is the lessee. Padalex has been a successful operator in South Florida now for several years. First-class operation. The closest one is, as you can see in our photographs here, across the bay next to the Arch Center in Miami. Padalex is an open use. It is not a membership club. That means that anyone can rent a paddle court using the Playtomic app, excuse me. And that will be the same thing here. This is going to be a use that's open to the general public and not a membership in any way. Basics on the lease. I'm going to go through this quickly. So this structure is going to be here for just under 10 years. So that is going to guide how we're designing it and how we're building it. It will be open from 7 in the morning to 11 p.m. at maximum, and in terms of lease, we have to return the roof to its original condition when we're done. So that, again, that has played into how this use gets designed significantly. The lease includes a significant number of public benefits, including free sessions for residents, reduced rates for residents, youth programming, after-school programs, scholarships. There's a focus, and this again this is the same thing that Padalex does everywhere. They're trying to bring people into the sport. They're trying to get kids excited about it and become actual professionals. We're also activating with charities. We're working with Parks and Recreation to have lots of activations on the roof. So that is all part of the lease as we go forward. So with that, and the remaining 6 minutes, let me let Jose come up, take you through the design, and then we can answer any questions you may have.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jose Lobo. I represent Soul Design Studio. I'm an architect in Fort Lauderdale, 632 Southwest 4th Avenue. So I'll just take you through these next few slides. Here we're seeing the floor plan of the roof as the paddle courts are going to be laid out. The way you access the facility would be through the main stair on the north side. And then once you're up at the roof level, you're going to encounter the lounges, the pro shop, and the restrooms. And then flanked to the left and the right would be the courts. We have been working with the city in affecting the least the parking structure. So we can, obviously this is a 10-year lease, so we would be able to dismantle without affecting the actual garage. Here you can see the spaces that are being exchanged for a brand new venue for the city. And in these slides, you can see, these are the elevations where you can see more like two-dimensional representation of the facade. But what we're trying to create here is something really light, intelligent, that represents a sports facility as has been done around the world in other ones that I can call out. On this slide, you can see the where we are intending to have, where it says clubhouse is the arrival. That would be sort of like the most permanent structure, and then the paddle courts would be all modular and built to fit the courts. Each court is its own structure, and then we have a skin that wraps the courts. You'll see in the next few slides. But what you're seeing here is where we're planning to locate the mechanical equipment, so we don't have visibility from the ground floor of the surroundings. Here's the inspiration behind the skin. In the slide to the right, you see the courts and how they're it's a modular system that gets installed on site. And here's sort of like the technology behind it. And this is the look of the element altogether as it would be seen at night. What you're seeing is the first 12 feet is transparent, and then we have this canvas structure PVC above that, wrapping the whole facility. The intent is to complement the garage. As you can see, it's just like a way to top of this garage in an elegant way. And this is the view of the corner. Thank you.
Briefly.
Thank you.
So with that, we have no objection to staff's suggested conditions in its draft order, so we would ask for your approval this morning. We're all here for any questions you may have, and I'd like to reserve time for rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you. Disclosures?
I had a call from Roy Greenberg to talk about the project, and we spoke a little bit about the project. That's it.
I also spoke with Roy Greenberg as well on the phone.
I went to the site and met with the owners and attorneys as well.
I too went to the site and met with the owners.
I went to the site, met with the owners.
Okay. All right. Shall we open the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. If anybody online who would like to speak, please raise your hand. Going once, going twice.
Sold.
No hands raised.
I have a comment to the chair when it's time.
Go right ahead. Yep.
The rendering that comes up with Paddle X at night with the lighting, which looks beautiful. It feels like if the whole entire building is Paddle X, right? When you have that rendering. Can you put that rendering up for a second?
Sure. That one?
That one, right?
This gives you more of a idea of the scale of it.
I get it. But I'm simply saying is that I think that there should be some type of signage for the city's structure as well, for the parking facility. I'm not sure what it should say. But the Paddle X Miami Beach sign there looks extremely cool. The facade looks extremely cool. I just think that when somebody looks at it, they should be able to understand that it's not just a Paddle X building and that there is something else that's part of the structure. So I'm just saying that it should be some type of a co-branding element to it is my sort of like feel when I look at it.
Are there currently public parking signs on there? I mean, I recall driving in and knowing, being signaled where to.
No, I'm saying that
Yeah.
you have the potential of having, you know, signage from the city side. I'm not sure, you know, what would it be? But if not, it just looks like the whole entire building is Paddle X. I'm not saying I mean, it's beautiful for Paddle X. I think it's very cool, but I just think that it looks so nice that I also think that we should take advantage and have some type of signage to show somewhat of the partnership.
To answer that question, under the terms of the lease, the reason it says Miami Beach under that is that our signage has to include Miami Beach in it. Now, it
I get
doesn't
it.
say Miami Beach 17th Street Garage on it, but it says Miami Beach. So that is the agreement under the terms of the lease, that's why it's incorporated in there. And just to draw that out, there is a condition in the order regarding the signage that it has to meet code. So we had a discussion with staff yesterday about how to do that mathematics. So the exact size of these signs is going to be adjusted based on the code requirements.
That's my comment. I'm not, I think it looks beautiful. I just think that we should get some exposure as well somehow.
I think that you raise a valid point that you don't want people to not realize that they can use this as a public parking facility. I'm not so concerned about ownership or
No.
rights, but I do think that I don't want people to be dissuaded from that
It's
being
just a great opportunity. It's
public
there.
parking, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Maybe more like street level. I don't know. I'm of the view that we don't need so much branding like up top for everybody to see, but as long as if you're driving by and you have the little P,
Is there a-
by, I
There
think
is-
that should be
Currently,
sufficient.
there is signage
No, I
at
think,
ground
yeah.
level for parking, but maybe it can be enhanced or it can be replaced and do something a little bit more in line with what's on the rooftop, but at ground level. Maybe the city can use your inspiration for the signage at ground level. I also have another question on the rooftop. You, I think, stated there's 462 spaces,
There are.
parking spaces
Hold on.
currently.
Challenging my math on that, Myra.
Yeah,
There's
or-
1,400 total.
Yeah. 467, okay. And
367, and we're using.
We're impacting 167 of the rooftop.
so you're removing 167 spaces and leaving how many?
150, 192.
192. So during the high season, and not just boat show, that rooftop does fill up. So if there's a convention, now there's boat show, let's say, and, or the Summit of the Americas comes back, or something comes back, Super Bowl, will the cars be able to then utilize the remaining 192 spaces or so?
Oh, yeah, 100%, Myra. So I should have been clear about that. Any of the spaces that aren't touched by our actual physical structure are still public parking spaces,
Okay, and they can be utilized if needed?
100%.
Okay.
And part of what we've designed is that you can see that we have basically two entrances to our facility that we anticipate people are going to park. You see where the pink is there? Here, I can point us.
So we have an entrance.
There's an entrance here too, so we anticipate people who are driving up are going to park right there because they'll be feet away from the entrance.
Probably get more people using the rooftop.
Pardon?
You probably get more people using the rooftop parking now that there's.
Then in a long time, yes.
Yeah. Well, I do like how the
Thank you.
design looks. I do like how the design looks like it was part of the original building, like it's one integrated, I guess, not system, but like, it just looks like it's originally part of the building design, and it's not like it's a random, very controversial, finish that clashes with the original parking structure. The whole structure looks like one element now with that pedal.
That was the
put in.
intent. That was the intent, just wanted it to feel like one facility that was designed originally
Yes.
that way.
And you said that the structure is pressurized, and that's how it keeps itself
The parametric design and
inflated.
depth.
So if the power does fail and there's no positive air force within inside the structure, will it deflate or will it still be?
Well, in the way that this is stitched together, all these forms, so the shape is still gonna, it will still reflect.
If it's a power failure.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, just to be clear, there's a distinction between the actual structure where people are in and the skin, right? The skin is the one that is being inflated, essentially. The structures are kept up by the structural elements inside them, right? So they're not relying on pressure.
The skin won't
Because
collapse or anything.
because the actual tent, or, where the courts are, we have the ability to raise up the sides so that you can have the fresh air go through on good, nice days. So they're not relying on pressure.
Okay.
Through the chair, I'm sorry, I don't know if there's a way of showing this, but this is what I kind of like was talking about. I just did the Power of AI to show how you could incorporate an image of the city sign, right? With Paddle X still there, and it still shows nicely, that it's city public parking with, it doesn't have to necessarily be that, but just trying to show what I was trying to explain.
I would just tell our constraint is the code, right? CCC district does not allow us or the city, candidly, to just waive any size limits, location limits for signage.
Or amount of signage.
Yeah, and the number, right? We are entitled to 2 building identification signs, right? So that, and we can, one on each corner, right? We have the one on the north facade, and we have one on the east facade, which is just the X. So that's all the code allows us. Now, we don't have any issue, if the idea is that the board's direction is to the city to explore using its logo, that we have to incorporate it in some way to make it clear that it's a parking structure, that doesn't bother me.
I'm actually not saying to touch your logo. I don't think it should be next to your logo. So I don't know if there's a way that I could submit this idea for the city side and say, hey, can the city look into them incorporating, the city signage?
Andres, let me just add something here. I'm sorry. When there is a convention or an event,
Right.
parking that is available at the city near that event or convention is very well.
No, I'm not trying to say this because
No,
people are
no.
not going to know that the garage is there for public parking.
No. So that information of that parking space being available for the events is well communicated to conventions and event goers. So what's left are people like you and I. We're not part of a convention, we're not part of an event, but we're going to Lincoln Road, and we may be new to the city. You just weren't born here, and I haven't been here 60-some years, so we don't know that parking lot is for parking. But I think as we are driving through the city looking for parking as a non-convention or non-event person, the street-level parking may be more effective and cover your request. I personally would like the emblem of the city where you say Miami Beach to be included. That's our little icon, but that's separate. That's another issue. But I think the information that building is parking for the majority of the people that use it in big groups like conventions and event goers, that will be communicated to them. In addition to that,
Yeah, it's
at
not, I'm
street
sorry.
level.
Yeah, I get it. That's not my point. My point, everybody's gonna know that that's parking and no one's gonna think that they can't park there. I just think that the aesthetics of the whole entire building should have, if it can be done,
Yeah.
it's just my thought. I'm only one person though.
Yeah. No, and my concern is, I agree with you that, it shows parking at a higher level, if someone's looking up or from a distance, looking at the structure.
The
But at
convention
same-
center across the street.
Yeah, which will hopefully be in more usage as time goes by with the hotel opening up. But at the same time, I don't think that it's currently has a label on the top saying parking, and yet everybody finds it. But because it's going to say Padel X, they may think, oh, this is just Padel X over there. And I think that's Ms. Rocion's concern. And that's why I think if we can do it at ground level, my suggestion, it may suffice. I also would not like to camouflage anymore the design of that screen. It's pretty, especially at night when it's lit up.
So are you suggesting that the applicant does a new sign down at the ground level where it says?
There is signage right now at ground level.
Yeah.
Through each of the entrances. However, it's signage done by the city. It's been there for up to 10 years. It could be improved, it could be enhanced, and maybe this is something that they can assist the city with. So that it all entails. At the same time, they should study the possibility of putting a parking sign, as Mr. Racion says, on the top where the Padel courts are going to be.
Again, actually, my request is not for the applicant to do this sign for the city. My thought process is that the city should look at doing their own sign in their own building if it's possible. So I'm not making it subject to the applicant doing that.
I agree, the signage, the city, the garage has signage on the ground level. The signage doesn't comply with our current sign regulations because it's on a flat background, which is something we wouldn't allow. It has, we require individual pin-mounted letters. But I'll reach out to, so it predates our current requirements because that garage has been there for some time. But I'll reach out to the parking director to discuss the possibility of signage. I don't know that the applicant's lease gives them the ability to modify things other than where they're allowed to construct. But I'll reach out to the parking department to see if maybe that's something that can be done.
Yeah, given the nexus of this point of what's
Right.
going on across the street and this would be nice to make it upgraded.
Agreed.
And that's just a city sign.
Upgrade the signage wherever it may be.
Yeah, and on the funding side, on the terms of our lease, we're obligated to pay the city $200,000 at the start of the lease. So if the city wants to devote some of that money to enhancing the signage of the garage, that's a great use for it. So when you're talking to the parking director, Rogelio, you might want to mention that as well.
Actually, Commissioner, Parking Department is an enterprise fund, and that fund can only be used for parking-related items, so this could be a good use of their funds.
It is the city's responsibility, and I hear this loud, so I think it was not exact.
Talking about the skin, because that's the most visual item here. I'm not 100% clear on how this is. I know where it sits. We have basically a tent with side walls that have a three-dimensional pattern. And is that pattern, you're saying it's an inflatable, triangulated?
So
I'm
the-
not,
the-
there's
the
no
core-
section or anything. It looks good. And I see a plastic, a version of it in
So
Europe.
so the court itself is it's its own structure, it's its own, it's like a shed, right? It has its own roof.
That part I got. It's the decorative part.
Right, and then so outside of that, offset off of that is the new skin, it's the skin that's gonna clad the whole facade of the building.
And what is the thickness of it? And is that something that you're saying it's filled with air that gives it its dimensionality, which is not the pressurization from the courts. It's its own,
right?
Its own band that's wrapping around everything.
Exactly, and it's gonna be 8 to 12 inches in thickness. Because of whatever structure we have to provide to hold the canvas
That's
piece.
the tent that's 8 to 12 inches, or the
So,
insulate? The
so
skin?
there's
Just
the
the skin.
tent is its own thing, and then on the side wall of the tent is very tall, and then at the top, I don't know, 18 feet or something like that is the decorative
Right,
panel.
right.
And that's an inflated decorative skin, we'll call it.
Right.
And
Can you bring that up on the
Sure, you
screen?
can put, I think this rendering shows it.
what does it look like when it's not inflated? Yeah, I know you asked that, right? Is it like, not that the power goes out, but it costs money to keep it inflated all the time.
So, so it's gonna look, it's gonna have the geometry is gonna still show because it's stitched at wherever we have the geometry, right? It might not be as three-dimensional as you're seeing it on the screen. but it's
It's not
just
gonna
when-
sag. It's not gonna like sag and feel deflated.
No,
Because it's not gonna be running 24 hours a day, the inflated section, is it?
It should be. That's the idea that this. Sure.
Hello, I'm CEO of the company, one of the partners.
JP, get on the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
I thought they could hear me. Sorry about that. No, the idea we brought, I wanted to say two things. The first reason we are actually putting a facade is because, like one of the members here said, we want to fully integrate the structure to the existing structure. So we didn't want to have a visual for the city of actually seeing, like a modular structure. We wanted to, make something beautiful that was fully integrated with the city. This technology we're bringing, and I think it's a very intelligent, modular structure, is being used in other stadiums around the world. We worked on the preliminary architecture with a very leading architecture company from Spain, and this has been tested all around. The inflatable structure itself is very thin. And the compressor is not blowing wind into the structure in the permanent form. It's just keeping the pressure constant, that's all. So it's not like it's blowing wind into the structure in a permanent fashion. It's only keeping it tight and, in a tight fashion. Our interest, since we approached this project as, I think obviously us being a sports company, we have to have a positive impact in the communities we come to. Our intention since the beginning was integrating to the existing structure. So whatever the city thinks we can provide in terms of enhancing the experience. I saw Mayra, one of the members, saying that one of her concerns, it's also our concern, it's the same concern we share. When we approached the city for the RFP, we said we don't want to be isolated, in the last floor of a parking space and our clients not finding us out either, So what I'm trying to say with this is I think we're destined to work with the city in a collaborating fashion, because it's in our interest too that our clients can drive up to the facility. We're going to be in a rooftop, we're not going to be at street level. And therefore, since we're going to be inserted in a public structure, the only way this can work is fully collaborating at the end of the day. And if we can enhance the experience in signage or for people who actually come walking from street level or whatever we can help provide to the city, we're open to do so.
Thank you. We appreciate it, and we know you're spending a lot of money for something that is a lease. My concern is only what is that thing really, because I don't trust renderings all the time, and there's not a full diagram of it. So I think I understand it's a grid with an inflatable sandwich, just some type of sandwich, and then that's what gives it three-dimensional shape.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. And what we thought is the city deserved more than just seeing a modular structure from the street. I think we see the enhancement that the city is pushing in Lincoln Road, in Miami Beach. I really believe Miami Beach is got a bright future ahead of it. We want to be part of it. And we thought the site deserved a lot of, more than just a modular structure, Regarding the details, of course, we're going to work with the DRB Commission. We're going to work with the building department too. And as we progress in a more detailed engineering, aspects of this, obviously more than happy to provide. All I wanted to say is that obviously this is not a technology. It's a technology that's already been proved abroad and it's being used specifically for sports facilities. So I think
Through the chair, I have a
huge
question
enhancement for the city.
For hurricanes, I'm not sure if the other places that they used, was used in a condition where hurricanes are around. In the event of a hurricane, what comes down, what stays up?
Yeah, that's a very good question because it's one of the technical challenges we had designing the project. So what we are proposing is basically a permanent structure where the clubhouse or the lounge or the social area is going to be situated, and all the courts or the surrounding courts to the actual central, social element. The skin it can be, electrically, removed to let the wind come through when the wind is blowing hard, and we can put it back after, if you had unfortunately, we happen to have a hurricane season.
And for historical purposes, how many people submitted for the RFP? Only one?
No, it was seven, yeah, that's.
Seven?
Yeah. It was a tight competition.
Got it. Congrats.
Yeah.
32 and 7 rows left.
Yeah.
Oh, for it to go farther. right?
Yeah.
That was a that was a
Yeah.
big race. Congratulations on winning that RFP.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that got us through was actually the proposal of the indoor structure. I think there were some proposals that were proposing an outdoor structure, but especially with Nale's expertise as a paddle expert and a leading voice in the paddle industry here in the US, we thought the playing experience on a rooftop with the windy conditions, it was gonna make it unplayable. You know, so I think if we really want to provide a long-term vision of a high-end facility for Miami Beach, we thought that, the experience had to be indoor, So we tried to match all the factors. The fact that we were in a rooftop, considering the structural overload potentially of building something more permanent, having the windy conditions indoor, and we came up with this creative solution we've seen in other sports facilities across the world. Matter of fact, this company, Lusotendas, is a Portuguese company. They're very well known. They've been building across the US. They've actually opened just recently Icon Paddle in Aventura on the same kind of situation as we do and on the top of a rooftop. And they're building all the Cristiano Ronaldos. I don't know if you know the soccer star from Portugal, but basically they're building all his clubs around the world. And that's why we reached out to this company in particular.
Yeah, I'm sure they do great work. I was just concerned on the height and the hurricane situation here.
I think a very good example for the DRB Commission is going to be to follow up on the ICON project on Aventura, because it's very similar to what we're doing. And I know they went through permitting, and I think they're very close to opening very soon.
I have one design, besides understanding this, can we go to page 19 of the renderings?
All right, show which one is that?
By the way, the Icon Paddle design looks very
One
cool.
before this one.
This one?
Sorry, I don't know if I'm on the same page here.
I can't tell which page is which. Tell me when to stop.
This,
That's
keep
what
going.
she mentioned, yeah. I bet there's some licensing.
This one, you could leave here. This is for the board. This is just something that I had a feeling about and doesn't need to be agreed upon or anything. The setback that you see behind the stair bulkhead is the permanent facility where the clubhouse is and the bathrooms. The roof, that's not the same structure. And when I was up there, when I looked at these renderings again, and I sort of thought that potentially first I thought in the rendering it was a different material, at least the skin. And I wonder what you guys think if that should have, this is big, it's 34 feet off of here. Should that one section potentially be a different pattern or lower? It doesn't
Or a
need to-
window.
The section behind the staircase?
Yeah, the one
The
section
L.
there, there's mechanical equipment and I'd like to cover that, but I think the ceiling heights within that clubhouse are probably not as high, so it's about breaking up the same material all the way across, even though it is set back a few feet. It could be shorter or it could be a different, same material, but maybe a different pattern.
Your point is correct. What we're thinking is more or less roughly 30 feet high for the courts and 10 feet high to 10 to 12 feet high, I think, for the clubhouse area. What was our intention when we thought about this? Rather than having breakage in how you saw the building, the idea we had with the facade that we're proposing is basically to unify this. Since you're going to have different modules that are coming in different directions, and maybe the clubhouse was going to be on a different height, what we humbly thought was better for the city in terms of how the building looked from street level, it was to have a facade that covered and unified this whole all these modules. But it's. I mean, if it's something you want to revise in the future, we're open to, maybe take a look at it.
From the paddle side, what is the view like when you're looking outwards? If you're playing paddle, are you looking at a white wall or can you look through it and see the views?
So the first 12 feet, of that you see that's transparent, it's actually the court behind it.
Is there a perspective, if I'm playing paddle, what does it look like if I'm looking out?
We don't have that rendering.
Is it white, the back of that white wall, or
I
is
think
it?
you There were
There is
samples of the material
It's
traveling around here.
It's a
Is it
plexiglass
these
enclosed.
materials or just plexiglass?
My
then?
question is, can I look through it and see like the park in front of it? Yeah.
Yes, no, we can't.
Hello, Nale Grindam, JP's partner in Paddlex. I'm more of the paddle expert, so I'm gonna give you a little, what you get, to answer your question. Basically, the court itself has a glass wall that's 9 feet tall, and then there's a mesh wall, I wanna say it's 3 feet tall. It's 12 feet is the structure. When you're standing on the court, behind the court, you have the tent, and the first 12 feet of that tent can be electrically brought down or up depending on the weather, you see. If we have hot weather, rainy weather that we would prefer to play inside, then we bring down the curtain and you don't see anything. Basically, it's opaque and there's no glare and there's no you cannot see through. However, hoping that, in Miami the weather is good, most of the time, if the temperature allows it in the winter days and so on, and the view is so beautiful up there, overlooking the new hotel that's on the right, or even the convention center down the street, we'll open those curtains and let the air come through and the view to be able to, the player to be able to view the hotel or the.
Got it. I didn't know that in the design. I didn't pick up on that. Nice.
So that's the clarification. If you have any other questions on technicality.
Point of clarification, is it 9 courts or 10? Huh?
It's a.
10 courts.
Yeah, we started with 10, but when we had to, the dimensions of the court were forcing us to make some intervention on the garage. So as we reconfigured it so we could remove them without having to demolish anything on the garage, we ended up with 9.
Thank you.
So just, I'm sorry to repeat this again, but then the plexiglass around the padel courts goes up 10 feet.
Yeah, if we
there-
put up the slide, we can show, I think, clearly, Myra. This shows you basically, as Nale was explaining, so the courts are on the right-hand side, right? You can
Right.
see that they have a structure, and they have a fence internal to them. But you can see that outside of that, it's open. So on a good day, you just can roll up that lower 12 feet of the overall structure, and the air goes through, right? So then those go down if it's too hot or if it's too wet or whatever. But yeah, so the courts themselves are, they have their own structure to them. That's part of the game.
And then beyond those curtains is
The skin.
the wrapper.
Right.
The skin starts from the top of the.
You can
the
see on the
retractable
photograph
to
on the
peak of the roof.
Sorry, on the
Yeah.
photograph on the two sides, you see that
Yeah.
the top drops, and that's where the current can continue dropping.
Yeah, and the skin would start at that level, right, and go up.
Right.
Right.
So it's not blocking your view. On a nice day, you're going to see the world.
So on top of it remain,
Yes.
Yes,
and in a hurricane, you'd be able to.
that comes off for a hurricane. And just basically the skeleton is what's left on the roof.
I think there was you see how the canvas is, it's on
The
tracks
skin
on
is
the roof.
18 feet tall, and the opening is 12 feet.
So 12 and then 18.
So that's what I'm saying, it's a lot of presence
Yeah.
of the material we're
30.
gonna see is, from a distance, is this,
Yeah.
this inflated sandwich,
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
30 feet high.
34 feet high.
I assume it's gone through all the structural engineering, engineering for anchoring details for the footings and stuff like that to withstand a hurricane in Florida, so.
We've been in weekly conversations with the structural engineer.
Yeah, so you
said
already thought that through.
Right.
And just know.
Right.
Yeah. I motion.
Can I just say something? Yeah, first of all, I wanted to commend Commissioner Magazine for spearheading this project. I think that this goes with a movement of our city to move to provide resources for health and wellness, which is great. Also, my family are paddle addicts, and so we've played at all the facilities around Miami Beach, and I do have to say that Paddle X runs an amazing, amazing ship, and they are particularly good at building community. And so I think that as you look at this structure that is a parking garage, and to think that there'll be a community of people gathering, playing, exercising, meeting each other, and using an area of our little beach that is completely not used at night is exciting. As a woman, I'm particularly excited about the ambient light that the design provides for the parking garage as we see City Hall and the new convention center. That is a very welcome addition to our safety concerns for design. And I just also wanted to say that the businesses that are being built on Lincoln Road and all the money that's being poured into Lincoln Road should be very grateful for what you're bringing as well. Because after I play paddle, I'm very hungry. And so I go to eat at one of these restaurants that are being developed on Lincoln Road, or we ride our bicycles up and down and we notice what else is happening in the neighborhood. So I think it's a win on every level. First, of course, the design, but also the resources that you bring to the community. So thank you.
Well said.
Want to make a motion? Or
And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve Paddle X.
I second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Mindich, second by Mr. Lester. All those in favor?
Aye.
Rogelio, could I just add that we make sure this inflatable skin is fully thought out? I still don't know what it is. I get it. I know it sounds great. And I can't tell from the section, so I know you guys will work on it, but that it covers the tent structure. So that would be my concern is that make sure it's the presence, not the tent structure.
And I'm sure the city's going to be looking after the hurricane concerns and
Yeah, that's definitely going to be part of the building code requirements that will be looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have conditions in the order regarding approval of the finishes and the semi-transparent material to be reviewed and approved by staff consistent with the design review criteria and/or directions from the board. So we will take that as direction from the board.
Okay, thank you.
great presentation. Great job, guys.
We appreciate everyone's time.
Very nice.
Do we need to vote or?
Good job, Commissioner Magazine.
I was talking too much.
Yeah, he missed it.
Congratulations, guys.
We had to have a motion.
I'm trying to go by the rules here. I'm trying to go by the rules. I'm like, but I'm not keeping up with them. We need a motion, and then we need a second, and then we need a vote. We need all that. All right, you got it.
Chair, when you have a chance, I'm not sure when it's appropriate, but I have some recommendations I would like to make in general.
Thank you very much for the support. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Congrats. Andres, go ahead.
Thank you. Rogelio, we had spoken before, but there's two items I would like to bring up. Number one, an easy one, I think that one of the other board members also brought it up, is that if we could have an option to sign yes or no to receive hand-delivered packages to our homes, it would be great. I personally rather save the city money and not have those hand-delivered packages, and I can just get it electronically. Maybe other people want to do the same thing, kind of like the bank. Do you want your bank statements mailed or digital? I think many people would do so. And then the other item that I want to bring up, and that's for all boards, I would not just say for this board. The other thing is, right now, developments for houses throughout the city only permit you to build out a 25% of the roof as a roof deck. And as a real estate broker and dealing with a lot of the houses throughout here in Miami Beach, it looks so ridiculous when you walk up to a roof of a house that's $20 million and there is 25% that has like 3 chairs and a little table, and then everything else you can't walk on, versus having, the setbacks of a property dictate, or something else dictate what can be done on the roof without having it look kind of like out of proportion. And it really looks out of proportion. It's almost like you walk a $20 million house and then you go up the stairs, you walk up the roof and you're like, oh, that's it, let me go back down. And there's no need. We have a beautiful view, we have beautiful sceneries, and there's a lot to appreciate if it's done correctly. That I think that there should be something done in order for us to, I'm not sure if this is the right board, but I would like to present it to the commission, or somehow you lead the way of how it happens, of modifying that.
So this board does have the ability to make recommendations, and those get transmitted to the city commission as a letter to commission. So if the board agrees and you have a specific recommendation, you can make a motion recommending that the city commission amend the land development regulations to do X, Y, and Z. And then I'll prepare an LTC and we'll get it to the city commission, and they can decide, they're the ones that will ultimately decide what to do.
And I don't know what the right answer is, whether it's based on, the setbacks that are allowed, or what would be adequate to present, because I don't want to present something that's not adequate. But I think that we should have the discussion, and I'm not sure if any others here agree with what I'm saying, but I could show you many pictures where it just looks absolutely out of place and ridiculous.
So what the code requires today, there's two limits. There are additional setbacks. So the code requires that roof decks have a setback of 10 feet from the outer walls of the floor immediately below. It does provide an exemption if it's a waterfront lot, then the waterfront portion can go all the way to the edge, but all of the other sides, the front of the house, you have a 10-foot setback from the outer face of the floor below. And then the other limitation is the 25% that you mentioned. So perhaps.
Is there a way to maybe just eliminate 25% restriction and base it on the setbacks?
That's an option, yeah.
Is there like a leeway for a waiver right now, or it's just like 25?
It's 25%. What does happen is applicants will request variances on occasion. Typically, they are able to justify that there's a hardship if the house has some sort of an irregular shape, and cutting off a section of it just really doesn't work for the structure. And so sometimes they'll get a variance for a small percentage. I've
But I'll
never
tell you
seen
that
one more than 2, 3, maybe 4%. They're usually pretty small.
But there's
the only
others that
option
don't
is
even
for the
submit
variance.
it.
Yeah,
Because
they
they're
won't-
like, we're not
typically
gonna
don't.
waste our time because it's so ridiculous. That doesn't make sense to spend the money if you could only have, 3 chairs up there. And so,
When did
Perhaps-
when did that go into effect? Was it always that way?
It's always been that way since I've been here. I've been here 12 years now.
I agree with Andres, but what I do not like is when they start building structures on that rooftop and actually start making it more than just rooftop living,
So
But
perhaps it's
yet
like-
a third or fourth floor to the house.
snowball.
right, no,
Yes,
but I'm not
so-
saying to change that. I'm simply saying is that if you're gonna have the space, and it's very easy to see the difference.
Yeah.
Somebody's not proposing to enclose something or something like that. I'm just simply saying is that you have a roof enclosed of 25%, and then you have all this opening that you can't use. It's just like, I
We've
promise you,
had-
I could send you so many pictures of how bad it looks.
No,
So what are you proposing,
I agree
though?
with that,
I'm
but
proposing.
35,
I'm
40%?
proposing that the setbacks is enough.
Yeah.
That if they have the use of the setbacks, that you don't need to restrict them to a 25% or a number, is my thought.
we've had projects come here, I don't know if any of you remember that have been here, where they propose putting canopies up there and trellises and becoming, I agree with you, the setbacks are enough. 25% may not be, is not sufficient when you have a whole roof deck up there. But as long as, in my opinion, there isn't another story of living up there.
Well, there
with-
are some permitted obstructions for roofs.
Well, that's fine, but some of the ones that have come here have been trellises with vines and canopies and.
Think about it, there's a
which
lot of houses.
Obviously, they required a waiver, and that's why they.
Even in
required it.
Palm Island, the lots, many of the lots are 6,000 square feet. You could build 3,000 square feet on that lot. That means you have 1,500 on the first floor, 1,500 on the second floor. And then you have 25% that you could use of the second floor on the roof. That means you probably have like a 500 square foot space up there on the roof. It's kind of like silly. It just doesn't make,
Are you okay with elevator bulkheads going up there, or potentially stair bulkheads, because it goes with the height, then you.
no, I'm just simply saying, I'm not asking to change
I'm
what
just-
you could put up
And
there.
I'm not even
asking.
arguing with you. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it comes with, if we're like,
I'm just saying that what's current, the rule now doesn't make sense. And we have to
The
change something for it to
limitation
make
of
sense.
25% is what he's saying.
Then perhaps the ask is, we give the setbacks a waiver request, or like, if we want to increase the percentage a little bit, but they have to come to us as a waiver approval as opposed to a variance. Is that, that kind of sounds like, yeah, exactly. So you have a case-by-case basis where, I mean, I think a variance is kind of a hard argument to make, right? If it's purely based on aesthetics or what you're saying, which is a valid point, but that's not really what a variance is for. So, a waiver with some limitations around that, like how much they can go out. And like you said, I agree. I'm concerned that this could be bad in certain instances, but it should be helpful in few. So maybe there's some sort of.
So the code does have separate regulations on height exceptions regarding covered structures. So it says covered structures, that's like a trellis or a canopy of some sort, which are open on all sides and do not extend the exterior habitable space. Such structures shall not exceed a combined area of 20% of the enclosed floor area immediately one floor below, and shall be set back a minimum of 10 feet from the perimeter of the enclosed floor below. So there's a separate.
That could stay the same.
Yeah, that could stay the same. So even if the deck gets larger, the canopy is still the same limitation that existed prior, because we regulate that separate from the deck itself. Elevator bulkheads are also allowed as a height exception. Stair enclosures are not allowed as a height exception. So stairs would have to open up on the second floor, and you'd have to walk up and be open air once you get to the rooftop.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. In single-family homes, in multifamily homes, they are allowed, but.
So I would like to make a motion that we remove that 25% restriction, but leave the other restrictions that are in place, and propose that to the commission, see what they say, is my thought.
I just feel like it really has to be a case-by-case scenario, because you have the neighbors and visibility and how it affects, I think, any kind of blanket.
Well, the visibility, as he said, it's still only going to be a 20, you said 20%?
The covered structure is limited to 20%.
That won't ever change. So there's no visibility that this would affect. The only thing that would affect is that you could literally just walk around more on the roof area, right? But the visibility, we're not asking to change the visibility, because that's a different regulation. I'm just simply saying, don't box me in that I can only walk on 25% of my roof when I have this roof up there. That's my thought.
Rogelio, do you feel that this is something you should discuss with other members of the planning department and then come back to us at the next meeting with your thoughts as a department of what should go to the commission? Because this may affect other issues that I'm not aware of, for example.
I think what you could do is just make it a little more general, because ultimately, if let's say that the commissioner picks up on this and refers it, we'll have to go to the planning board and then 2 readings of the city commission, and it would likely be referred to the land use committee as well. And I think the language would be refined, and they can determine if it's something that should be done as part of a waiver, or if it's something that should be allowed as of right. So you may just want to make your recommendation, explore options for increasing the deck area, including removing the 25%.
Yeah.
That's good for me.
Yeah. And now, isn't the planning department going forward with some other changes that you all have been discussing, like the second floor setback from first floor, things of that nature? So
Yes.
would the idea be to group all these land use changes to the planning at one point, or do you do it piecemeal?
So it depends on how it's referred. So we have a referral that's pending to simplify the single-family home regulations. This may be something we want to consider, but generally the idea of simplifying is not to change the overall structure of what can be built. It's simplifying the regulations to the extent possible. So I think this would probably be outside of the purview of that referral.
But just for clarification,
but it can be done separately.
This is not a request for what can be built. In other words, this is not what can be built. This is just the ability to be able to walk and use walkability utilize the roof and not box it in. In other words,
So
what could be built, I'm not asking to touch. I'm not asking to change or modify any of that. I'm just simply saying, don't make me put a gate around that I can only walk in 25% of my roof.
Okay, so if that's we would need a motion and a second.
So what is the
directing us.
motion?
So to transmit a recommendation to the city commission to explore options to allow for larger roof decks, including the possibility of removing the 25% limitation for roof decks.
While continuing the other limitations that currently
Yeah.
exist.
Keeping the setback.
Keeping the setbacks and keeping the 20%
The
restriction of the canopy area that could be built. So in other words, we're not modifying
Right.
any obstruction. We're not modifying what somebody could, build bigger. It's just, I could walk in more space.
So it would be a recommendation.
Correct.
So I'll
Now
second.
then, this would go to planning, from here to the planning board?
It would be an LTC to the city commission. One of the city commissioners would have to take that on and refer it.
Okay.
And then take it to the full city commission, and the whole city commission would have to refer it to the planning board.
And they would be the ones to decide whether this would trigger just a waiver?
Yes, they would,
Do
the
we want to
mechanics of
suggest,
it.
do we want to suggest that, or we leave that up?
It's up to the board. If you leave it general, then that can be worked out as part of the process, if it's a waiver or if it's something that's administrative, but that's up to the
I think
board.
we may want to make clear that we don't want this like as of right thing.
I
but-
like the little limitation on it,
Yeah.
because people put a
Well,
lot of stuff up there, and then it just,
But there are
it
limitations.
snowballs into somebody's playground on the
Yeah.
roof. and-
No, if we
Water
say like you can
Water
increase,
slides,
we just don't want to say you
and
can increase.
there's a
above
there's
20% as of right,
probably a
right?
reason
Like,
keeping
we come-
roofs,
You can,
you
you
know,
have to come down.
generally
It's
lighter.
it looks so ridiculous.
Like
It really does. I mean, we're in South Florida. We want to be able to enjoy these spaces, and right now you could only build on 50% of the lot. And there's a lot of areas that's taken up on the ground level, especially when you're building understories. It just, you should have a smoother use of your roof to be able to enjoy than the way that a lot of these homes are currently being built, and they lack that smooth area on the ground level. That, we're not saying that they can't do that. In other words, none of that is changing. Yeah.
But they want more limitations.
So if you have a waiver, if you require this as part of a waiver, then the applicant would be required to come to the design review board, and it would be up to the discretion of the board. However, it wouldn't rise to the level of review of a variance. You wouldn't have to prove that there's a practical difficulty or a hardship. It would simply be looking at the design review criteria. Does the design look okay? Does it?
That's great.
But-
So
but
that would
why-
be the waiver process. It
Yeah.
would have to come to this board.
But if the 25% is made bigger to allow someone to walk around their rooftop, keeping everything else constant, the setback, the canopy size and all that, why require them to go through the process of coming to this board? If all the other limitations are there, all you're allowing them to do is walk around and put a chair maybe outside the 25%. Why then come to this board and go through the time and expense of coming to this board?
I think there's considerations with neighbors. It could be different property by property. I mean, that you have
Case by
people
case.
looking over other people's homes perhaps. I mean, I don't think it's for us to decide.
Yeah.
I think maybe just,
I don't know.
You're still making it for us to decide.
well, our recommendation is for them to think about it, right? And they can decide, but.
Hey, I'll take anything. I just think that we need to change this. It's ridiculous the way that it is right now.
So, yeah, if we remove it altogether, it would be something that could be done administratively. Somebody could come in for a building permit and we could, and the staff could approve it. So I leave that up to the board, how you want to make that recommendation. Or you can list both options to allow the board to allow a commissioner to decide what they want to refer.
Just,
At a minimum, it'd be nice to understand where this came from, because, I can speculate privacy, I can speculate a chair gets put over there and it's a danger to a hurricane wind situation. So at a minimum, to understand, because I have an older house and we don't have that restriction on our roof, but I'd be interested when this came about and what its history was around it, so as to understand the context and whether or not that was just a kind of a one-time thing or something that exists for a real legitimate safety reason.
Do you have full access to your roof?
Yes.
And how nice is that?
It's hot up there.
But it's-
It's lovely, but it's a 1930s house.
But the option that you have that you could use your whole roof, it's nice to have, and that's
But
why.
her house was probably built lower, right? So like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So just for them to come back to us, because they can
Just
be
to
built a lot
understand
higher now,
reasoning, so
looking
you're
down
not
at the
being
Cool.
1930s
If,
house.
I'm happy to take that recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the motion amended to explore options to allow for larger roof decks through the process of waiver, or do you want to list both?
I'm fine with lifting both, lifting.
List both?
Yeah.
Okay, both.
I can't
Okay.
see how someone can come up with a hardship to be able to access their roof. A legitimate hardship.
For a waiver, you
And-
don't need a hardship.
But for a variance, you do.
Yeah, but they're
And
not
he's
asking
saying
for a
to do
variance.
one or the
We're not-
other.
no one's proposing
Okay.
it.
No variance.
And to come for a waiver, the cost and the time to come to this board to be able to utilize your roof, as long as there are parameters that give the requirements of what can and cannot be done, why come here unless they're asking for something beyond what is allowed in the code? If there's setbacks of 10
I
feet.
agree with you.
If there's canopy restrictions, all these properties have a restriction that, or a requirement that when a storm comes, and it should be included in these rooftop livable areas, they need to remove whatever structures are up there during a storm, be it a chair, be it a potted plant, a canopy. All of those things should be removed. It shouldn't be a requirement for us to babysit that. But now, if they want something beyond what the code will allow, yes, I
I think the idea here is that the 25%, and again, I'm not advocating for one way or another, we do need to analyze this. If it is the will to go through the process of waiver, you could do 25% administratively, and if you want to exceed that, you would require a waiver granted by the DRB. I think that's the way this would work, if that's the way we proceed. Otherwise, we just remove the 25% altogether and just allow,
leave the setbacks and.
leave the setbacks and all the other limitations.
It says
So-
that more recent ordinances, in some contexts, increased allowable rooftop deck areas to 50% of the floor area immediately below, depending on zoning district and design approvals. 25% of the roof can only be used, it may be an old, this may have already evolved, it's worth looking into, because it was an older zoning provision.
Yeah, it's, the 25% limit has been there as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was put in place.
Before understories came into being.
Exactly.
But there are some recent ordinances allowing up to 50%, so I don't know.
So that's why I think maybe before we take a vote, let's look at this by asking planning to take a look at it,
Yeah.
the planning department, and see what other ramifications, what makes sense, so that it's not,
I think the
what
vote is
we're
for them
asking
to
for
review.
is out of the reach in comparison to other codes we may have, but also other municipalities around us. These rooftop living is coming up more. I hear your house is in the 30s. Is it a one-story or two-story?
3-story.
Three-story. Yeah, no one that's like that.
was that argument?
But
Well, the
it's
third
come
story
more,
is the
it's
roof.
become more of a design now with, I believe, the understories and the flat roofs, and the boxes that are being built. They say, well, wait a minute, we can go do stuff up there. So it's evolved to that. We didn't have as much of it before, obviously, when this was done. This code
more
was
homes were probably
enacted of
pitched.
25%.
The 50% that you may be referring to is allowed in all other districts. So if you're in a multifamily district, a commercial district, you're allowed 50% of the, as a height exception.
Yeah.
If you're below the maximum, and that's another thing to keep in mind, if you're below the maximum height limit, your roof deck can be larger. So this is only where it's an allowable height exception. So if you are below the maximum height limit, you
You can have more than
That may be-
25%.
That may be what my case is.
Yeah.
I think it's all about trying, scale and not having people building sukkahs and major permanent
Yeah.
structures on roofs.
And the structures that are being built, the fear is you don't want anybody looking down at you
And it gives the-
because the house
gives
over
the
here
building
next to
another
me.
10-foot presence.
Yeah.
So what are we summarizing here?
So I have, as of right now, I have provide both options to, as part of the recommendation, but it is a general, to explore options to allow for larger roof decks, including removal of the 25% limitation for the roof decks while maintaining all other restrictions, or requiring that increases beyond 25% be subject only to a waiver as opposed to a variance.
It's a very general request for them
and
to
they can say-
explore.
And they
I mean,
can
it's
say
saying to
that-
explore, so you're all going to come back to us, be it
Yes.
the commission, planning board, or
And
any
in-
other board.
And in their decision, weighing the two options, they can look at why the
Yeah.
25% came
Right.
to be. And, maybe that will
And how many
help influence
applications
them.
are asking for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have a motion and a second to transmit that recommendation to the city commission?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Ascion, second by Ms. Lewin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question. That is, this was the first time there'd been so many ex parte communications prior to the presentations, and I just wanted to check with you that we are doing this properly and by the.
Please speak into the microphone.
Looks like a robot though.
For the,
I just wanted to have you please review the rules surrounding ex parte communications. Both I've received emails or a phone call or a text, and the meetings that we went to, and I want to make sure that we're all complying.
Yep, so the Code of Ordinances, let me pull up the section. It's 2-512.
I thought this is only
You don't get
this
called.
close.
You didn't get one? This one. Got something that emails, one text.
Yeah, so the code requires you to disclose a communication that you receive from an applicant or an objector, or really anyone who's appearing before you in your quasi-judicial capacity. You have to just disclose the identity of the person and then the subject matter of the communication. So it would be just you saying, I spoke to counsel for the applicant and we spoke about the project. So that's how the disclosure
So
process works.
did we comply?
You
based
did,
on what-
yes.
I did not say I received an email from this person and,
I mean, there's no like specific formula, but you did say that you spoke with the applicant
Met-
and you
and I met
and
them.
you met with them,
Okay.
and then you went to you visited the site.
Okay.
So that's sufficient for our purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful in some ways,
Yeah, I can tell you my experience is that it can also be a problem later on because there are communications made maybe to you, and yet they're not disclosed in the entire board, because you're just saying, I met with them, and we talked about X, Y, Z.
Well,
So-
and the reason for the disclosure and the reason why my preference is for the disclosure to take place at the beginning of the public hearing is that a member of the public can cross-examine you about the communication that you had. So usually that doesn't happen, but that's the idea.
Yeah. Rogelio, there was, in the presentation with, I forget which of the two, there was a comment made by, I don't know if the Burkow Group or someone else, that there's a code requirement that you obtain, I think it had to do with the West Avenue project, that you obtain consensus from the neighborhood or the neighbors, or, yeah, I'll call it consensus or approval, recommendation. Does that makes sense to have when it comes to single-family districts, residential districts, that, let's say I'm building a house, should I not have the recommendation or letter saying yes or no from my adjacent neighbors?
I don't think we can limit the property rights of property owners based on,
Yeah, the neighbor does not get a veto.
yeah.
Yeah, because I see that sometimes it's done and sometimes it isn't. And it isn't done specifically when the person presenting the project knows that it may be a problem for this neighbor or that neighbor. So that's why I'm wondering if it's something that, and not that that we're going to accept it by saying, oh, I'm not going to give you the waiver because your neighbor to the south doesn't want it. But just for us as a board to know whether the surrounding neighborhood, and not the neighborhood 10 blocks north or south of the project is opposed, but just the surrounding neighbors are okay with what's being proposed. Does that make sense to any of you?
Are you speaking specifically private?
Single family.
Single families?
So that's why we have the notice requirement. So all of the neighbors are going to receive mail notice.
Which
We-
goes to all, on any project.
On any project coming before a
Right.
board, they have to notify everyone within 375 feet, and that's for all of all four of our land use boards. And that's so that the neighbors can provide this board with feedback, so that you can determine if modifications or anything needs to happen to address their concern without necessarily stopping someone from being able to build a house,
Right.
or,
Yeah.
you know, you can address things
No,
with design.
that's there, and you know, some people see this little red sign in front of a property and they're, what the heck, and they're driving, they're not walking, so they never stop to see it. Others say, I never got the letter in the mail, you know. Or they get it and they just, oh, City of Miami Beach, and they toss it out.
And we, when we're having our pre-application meetings with applicants, we always strongly suggest that they reach out to their neighbors to figure out if there are any concerns, so that they can address those in advance of coming to the board. And that way, ideally, you're going to get neighbors coming in saying, I love this project, please approve it. We always let them know that they should do that, that it's highly recommended for all of our boards.
Yeah, okay.
Aren't there neighborhood associations for a lot of the single-family neighborhoods, or?
Yeah, some of them are more active than others, like Alton Road, for example. The president lives in what we refer to as Lower Alton. And they don't become as active. Some neighborhood associations are more active than others.
I just
I would
learned
say
the
the
term.
Forest Island,
multifamily-
Allison
I
Island.
didn't know that, Lower Alton.
Huh?
I didn't know Lower Alton.
Yeah, lower, middle, and upper.
There are some very active single-family neighborhood associations, but I would say the multifamily neighborhood associations are far more active than the single-family associations. All right.
Okay, thank you.
We have 70, the community center, we said last time we wanted to draft something. So that is, I think, our last item.
Yes, that's, last month, when the board considered the community center in North Beach, several things were continued. The design aspects of the site plan, that was all continued to June, so that's coming back before the board in June. The board did request that there be a discussion this month on the agenda, so we forgot to add that in the agenda that went out, but we added it in the printed agenda that's before you. And that was to discuss if you wanted to make any recommendations to the city commission separate from the actual design review approval. The big recommendation that I recall was a recommendation that projects such as this be required to go before the planning board for operational
Did
constraints.
the community center go before the planning?
No, because what the GU district requires is that public-private partnerships go to the planning board. So if this was being done by a private developer, let's say there was a housing component and then they were attaching a community center to it, that would be required to go to the planning board. But because it's entirely being developed by the city, it's not required to go to the planning board.
Maybe projects like that should go before the planning board, even if it's solely done by the city. I
And-
don't know.
To the chair.
I
and if
will,
there
I
was a-
will say that by the time a project gets here, it's gone through the community multiple times, I mean, multiple, to try and get consensus from the community, that neighborhood association that's, you know, or that commercial association, like anything for Lincoln Road. I don't know, they didn't mention anything from Lincoln Road today on this project, but usually they get, you know, they get sent to those boards and get approval from them.
Sure.
As far as us as a board giving a recommendation to the commission or giving a thought to the commission that is outside of our jurisdiction as a board, outside of design, I don't know that we should step into that additional role. But if I think, I know Andres had concerns, I have concerns with that project, and I think some of you other folks here may have concern. I think we can personally send a letter to the commission with a copy to the rest of the board members. That's my thought. I just don't, I think we set a precedent and by stepping outside of our defined role for design.
Sure. Yeah, I think that, that our role as a board for design should speak up when we feel that the design is not adequate. And unfortunately, I don't think that, you know, due to the fact that there is not a partner with the city on that site, it's not going to planning, and also it's not maybe having a private sector mindset to that project, because it is absurd to have a beautiful east-facing facade of a building and put parking spaces along the whole entire facade instead
I
of,
would,
you know,
I
retail.
would make the comments a
activation.
bit more general, since nobody's here. Since that item is being discussed in June specifically, I would just keep it more to the policy.
Well, it's what I said last time regardless. So, I thought we were discussing it, but regardless, that's my thought. And if we're gonna make a suggestion, I think that should be part of the suggestion, which is what we brought up, and I asked if we could make that same suggestion at the last meeting, so.
And Myra, you're suggesting that these be individually.
If it's an issue outside of our jurisdiction as a design review board, if we're talking, if our concern is an operational concern, I don't think that's our role here, although sometimes we've taken it up as a role, but it's not our role, so we're stepping out of line with that. But if it concerns floor plan or, you know, which falls into what Andres is saying, or design, I think that's within our role, and as a board, we can all send, as a board, a letter to the commission. But if I'm talking about operations and fees and,
I think we're
I don't
talking
know.
about floor plan. I think we're talking about
Yeah.
and use. I could go either way, whether they're individual or is there more impact coming from us as a group. I think there are, I got my own concerns with the community center, and I think everybody else does. But it comes to us baked.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's well-baked by the time it gets here and well thought out by the community, and now this is what they're expecting. And now here's the group of us saying, we don't think this is what you need. You know?
Are we wasting our time just talking about it, or I don't know what has the impact, but I don't know, I feel like, you know, the pools, there was, like you said, a lot of community input, and that was part of it, but the fact that there wasn't any private influence, I think made a difference in the design of everything.
But we
And
weren't here.
because sometimes these projects that are city projects, and I hate to say this, are community designed. They're not designed all the time based on need and what the requirements are for that area. based on what else is around there to provide those requirements, you know? It's a community-based design, which is not always the best.
But to your point also that there was a community desire for an Olympic-sized pool, we're just taking that on that one sentence. We weren't even involved in the process where we heard from the community to say, oh, this is why, or this is why it makes sense. So it is so disjointed. I agree with you completely that we're not only made to be the bad guys, we're wasting a lot of people's time and money, and we're also not even given a full amount of information. So, okay, the community said it. I don't know who the community was, or if, you know, in the past we've questioned, is it a person from the building or the head of the board? I mean,
Yeah.
there is so much, I agree, that's not right in that process. I don't know what to do about it. but-
It may have also gone before the Parks and Recreation Board. We have no idea what their stance was on it. If they, you know, I can tell you when the Scott Rake Youth Center ice rink was expanded, the size was an issue that caused 98 community meetings. Postponed the project, obviously, because you have to have 98 community meetings, because the decision wouldn't be made at the commission level as to what the final size of that ice skating rink would be. So,
With all that being said, there's no private developer in the world that would take an east wall and put parking spaces. So,
So back to what we suggested last month was, do we want to, as a board, submit something, or do we want to do this individually?
I think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna.
And what are we-
I don't think
and
it's
what are we
gonna, I don't think it's gonna get traction, because I don't think at the end of the day that they're gonna delay the project to make a modification. But I think that the message should be sent, that there should be more attention to detail in these design elements that I think were missed in this project.
design, operational elements, I mean, the whole 9 yards, by not just the community, but I don't know how to, you know, there's a lot of
So-
swaying of votes and thoughts.
So if the DRB would like to make a general recommendation, not as to the community center project, that future city,
Government
public-private projects receive additional advisory review by the planning board, I'm not sure where the design review, like where your purview is there, but that's potentially something that staff can work on and bring back. But if it's a recommendation on this particular application, then that should be held off on until next month.
I agree, and look, this is more of a holistic thing, I think. It isn't just a private partnership or a government project, but it's the fact that what should the process be to determine that this area needs this, like a youth center, and what should that youth center have? Who should it go to? Parks and Recreation Board, Planning Board, the administration should be the first ones to come up with a recommendation as to what they need. And then it should always go to the community as well.
I think like maybe after we get community input, it seems like there's a disconnect between, okay, we want all of these things, but how does that translate to the site? Like, is the site able to adequately and in a good way support the site? So maybe there's that second level of overview, and probably that's for the planning board or Parks and Rec to just kind of visualize how that site can respond to those needs. And maybe there needs to be, I don't know if that's more the direction we go or recommend.
Why is planning involved just because it's a city project?
The GU. So it's the GU district regulations only requires planning board review when it's related to a public-private partnership on public land. On a commercial lot, So let's say you're in the CD2 district across the street, that would require that any development over 50,000 square feet, gross square feet, go to the planning board. In the TCC district, it requires, if you have a use that exceeds 25,000 square feet, that has to go to the planning board. So actually, the only project in the town center urban core district that went to the planning board is the project that has it's intended to have some sort of a grocery store or big box store in the ground level on 71st and between Abbott and Carlisle. The rest of the projects are approved administratively. I mean, not administratively, are approved by the design review board in the town. So that's when they have to go to the planning board. So the code sets different thresholds for when something requires planning board approval. And depends on the zoning district. And so in the case of the zoning district, which is the government use zoning district, it's only when there's a public-private partnership.
So it bypassed planning because of that.
Right.
And then so the floor plans weren't reviewed by all parties.
And we basically are building two pools, one for recreation and one for Miami Beach Senior High. Swim team. And we have a pool at Flamingo, we have a pool at Scott Rayco, we have another pool on Normandy Drive, Normandy Park.
I'm not for spending time that people don't have, but it seems like would be good to have another set of eyes of people we trust going through plans for community buildings. So.
Yeah, because otherwise they're responding to like a wish list of things and then it's not really
And
set for the site maybe.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, the administration gets pulled in 100 directions, and the community pushes to get what they want. Whether it's, and the community really has to have involvement, that's where they live, but usually it's 5 or 10 that scream the loudest, and they push so hard, that, the administration sometimes says, you know what, give it to them.
Is that why it's separated, so that it's purely community?
This project specifically was part of the GEO bond, and there was a set
Yeah.
of requirements that was put in place as part of that voter approval. And so what's there is.
And it was a package that went to voter approval, so you couldn't say, well, I vote for this project, but not this one. It was a whole Parks and Recreation package that went through extensive communication and community meetings.
There was a board set up, a GeoBond Advisory Review Board, and they had a whole website with all the projects that were being funded. It's still up, and it mentions the status of all the projects that are supposed to be built. So there was a significant public process that happened before the project came to this board.
Okay, do we want to suggest that?
I think the suggestion that it go to planning, that government projects go to planning, how do you all feel, planning board, how do you all feel about that?
Tell us what to do.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like.
I see that as a primarily an operational or perhaps a policy decision that is not not a design review issue that is really before you, but because the design review, you already have the ability to review the design of all of these projects, but not necessarily to reconsider policy judgments of the city commission as they relate to approved projects or things of that nature. So I'm not sure if that would be.
Does it happen enough that we get feedback from the public at this meeting that, like things that we can't decide on, I guess, like is maybe that's how we can make this recommendation, right? We're getting a lot of feedback from the public of XYZ, they're unhappy with these things, but they're outside of our jurisdiction, so like, shouldn't there be another level? Well, okay, so
I don't
then we
think
can,
so.
because if we're not getting that, maybe it's not the concern.
I mean, we get community coming forward like we did today with the West Avenue project, and, they're just saying, oh, I'm in favor of it, I'm in favor of it, and a lot of it, I don't know, is is it as a result of the mailer that they get? I don't think so, because there were people here from, from, blocks away. So they're contacted by the developer or the project, not the developer, but the presenter for the project, the Burkow Group or whoever it may be, to come and speak on behalf of the project. They obviously don't ask them to come and speak if you're not in favor of the project. So that's what we get, Every once in a while, someone will be concerned and they'll speak.
And I guess, as Justin said, we could scrutinize the floor plans of something if we really felt like we wanted to on a project like a community center, right?
I don't
And
know,
and
can
hold
we?
it- and
Does the
hold it
floor
up.
plan,
Right.
does the floor plan, is that part of our jurisdiction? The problem is, they've spent a lot of dollars with the architect and
I know, and
engineers,
I tend to not
civil,
try to get into that
everybody,
unless it's a variance, but, my mind's going that way, like, oh, Andres is talking about the east facing, right? So it's like, okay, could that have been put somewhere else? Could that have been another room? Could they use it? Like, what's their 10-year plan for the whole parking garage? And then we hold it up and we say, come back to us with, all right, it's like, what, do we want to get into that circle? I don't know.
I guess
we try
the
not to.
concern here is that they're here for a modification, so the project was approved in its entirety
Yeah.
Yeah.
at a prior meeting. So I think for a modification, the purview should be limited to what was noticed, which are those specific
Items.
modifications.
Yeah.
That's why I try to look on the outside.
So if it
not-
was
not
the
on
first
inside.
time around, I would say by all means, comment
But
entirely.
at this point, by the time they come here,
Right,
Yeah.
so that's what I was kind of getting at before, like if we were getting a lot of feedback from the public that was like, we're
think
unhappy with it, which I guess we're
I
not.
haven't seen it.
Then like, really, do we have a problem here?
But
We're
it
kind of
came
outside of
to
our-
us last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before even I was here, I think, right?
yeah.
I think it was
yeah, I think-
shortly before you started,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we.
And there were some, I don't remember all the concerns that were raised, but there were concerns raised at that point. I don't know if concerns of the parking were an issue. I remember telling them, you have to underground utilities. You've got this cable going across Harding Avenue. We look like a decade of Carousel of Progress from Disney, And they said, oh, it's too hard. Well, yeah, nothing worthwhile is easily attained. But they, didn't bother doing it.
Some of these projects come to us and they're in somewhat of a schematic design, right? Or, I wasn't there, I can't remember, but if you're saying if they're coming to us in that level, then we can make layout suggestions on a scale like that, then.
They haven't gone through construction documents when
The
they come to
reason
us.
they started their construction documents, and that's when they found all of these things that they wanted to change. So they've already started the process of preparing their.
How far into the design?
First meeting probably was what triggered.
think it was
them to go
30,
in. They're like, all right,
34%.
the massing is fine.
Yeah,
and
well,
then-
yes,
and they're
at the
going,
first meeting,
Like the
when they
top-
just came to design.
The tower today is probably not in these construction documents. It looked
Is this a
general
public
schematic.
Well, the applicant
This
come
is
in whenever they
fine.
want, so
Yeah.
we don't have any limitation on
That's how they want us to come in. They're talking about coming in earlier.
earlier. yeah.
That's right, it's geo.
Typically they come in just when they have the architectural design drawing, so they don't have any structural, mechanical,
Right.
electrical done.
Yeah,
And so that's when for the community center, they started working on the structural stuff, and that's when they realized some of these components, we need to change them. And so they came back to modify those design elements.
but it was the first time they were here,
The
over a
first time
year
they were
ago.
here, it would have been very, that's
yeah,
the point.
That
when
would have
if you-
been the time,
Yeah,
because it was just schematics, it was just design.
right.
Something to keep in mind for sure. So we are agreeing to just personally
Reach out.
reach out,
Okay.
even though I think planning should be involved.
Yeah.
That may be what my letter says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you copy all of us, and then we
Yeah.
say we are in agreement with Adam.
So, sorry, just when you say to personally reach out, is that each of us should take the time to personally reach out?
No, you sent a letter to the mayor and commissioner saying,
I'm
I'm a member of Design Review Board.
Okay.
As an
This has
individual.
been an issue, this is our recommendation.
Okay, is there?
And
is
you
it
copy all of us, and then the rest of us chime in
Okay.
if we
I
want
don't think, I
to.
don't think
No,
you should be
yeah.
sharing with the
No?
sunshine law.
No,
That would be a sunshine
violation of
violation.
sunshine.
It's a public document.
Yeah, but you're having communications outside of,
Yeah, you can't communicate with each other on that.
It's a public document.
So once
Well,
you
you-
send it in,
And
if a
it's
board
got, it's going
member.
to the commission, and they have this, you know.
And I also wouldn't send it on, in your capacity as a member of the design
No,
review
just
board.
as a person.
I would, if you want to personally and not in your capacity here, petition your government for
Yeah.
changes to
Well,
the code, then you can do that, but definitely don't copy members of the design review board in it or, yeah, sign it as Adam Meshberg chair,
Yeah.
so,
Adam Rushford resident.
right.
President, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I guess we can conclude, it's still gonna come back before you next month, the whole project, so.
See
so for
we'll
now-
see the color schemes and see what.
Nothing's gonna change.
What we suggested, I don't either, but I think what's important is when something comes to us in its initial infancy,
order,
that
it says green.
we need to not assume it's baked. We need to say, all right, this is our point, this is our time to
I
say.
personally raised my hand, not as a board member here, I wasn't a board member, to many people when I saw the original design, but, it's hard to change administration's thought process when they're on the horse and they want to move forward, as fast as possible, is what I've seen.
But I think we're given a right, so as a board.
For sure.
And so if it's in that stage, I feel like that's when we can really weigh in and we can try and see what they make. Sometimes they might come back and say, oh, well, as of right, we can do this, and we're not gonna listen to you guys and blah, 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 right? But we can at least speak our mind. Okay.
So we'll conclude that discussion, and then the project will be back before the board next month. And that's all, we have no further business.
Next meeting is.
June 11th,
June 11th.
right?
Rogelio, would you send us that motion once it's baked and sent over regarding the roof
Yes.
recommendation?
Yeah, I'll send a copy of the LTC.
And if you could send us also that request, whether we like digital or we want the printed version to everybody, that'll be great too.
You want to not kill any more trees with a big package?
I hate throwing it away, but that's what I do.
All right. Motion to adjourn? All right.
I can just second that.
You can- yeah, I can't make a motion,
right? I can't.
You're not allowed to second motion?
No, I'm not allowed to second. I'm not
Oh, wow.
second.